All heavens sign in from Naruto, Chapter 561 to 580. Chapter 561 _ Teenagers don't know waste strength is expensive. Besides, I want to say hello in advance. Yifeng rubbed his chin and said, I think the Masked Legion will return to Saraiti sooner or later, so I'll make a reservation first and let Liza Yamanmaru join the 9th Division in the future. Now, I want her to be my vice captain. Actually, in the original plot, Yaminomaru Riza eventually became the captain of the 8th Division. But in Yifeng's view, the captain's job is nothing more than a false name. How can it be interesting to be a warden? To this, Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju slightly raised his eyes and gave Yifeng a meaningful look. Captain Nightwind. Actually, when it comes to men and women, the old man thinks that you should be a little more restrained, but don't be too young to be too young. To be honest, who hasn't had a young time yet? Think of the year when Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni had not yet established the Gotei 13 teams. He is the leader of the Soul Society. What kind of girl doesn't have? But when there are more girls, it will be boring. So, he actually hoped that Yifeng would quit early. In this case, he can at least maintain a little fantasy about the girl. Not like him. I have completely lost hope for the girl. Actually, in this regard, Yifeng also had this concern of Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni. But he later thought about it. Although he has lived hundreds of years. But 300 years of his several hundred years were spent with a monkey in the misty grass life. So, the days when he had a sister in his arms were actually not too long. There is no need to worry about anything at all. Then, Yifeng continued to talk about serious matters with Yamamoto Motoyanagi. Tell him the information about the broken face and the return blade. After hearing this news, Captain Yamamoto's face suddenly became extremely heavy. Broken face. Return to the blade. What the hell does this guy like Aizen want to do? Obviously, judging from the description of the Night Wind, those two broken faces definitely possessed strength beyond the ordinary captain level. And such subordinates. Aizen couldn't possibly send them to Kakuzucho to Yakuza's experience packs. So, he must have other purposes. Vice Captain of the Sparrow Department, immediately notify the leader of the Jing Band to lead the 8th Division to investigate the cause in the present world. We must find out Aizen's plan as soon as possible. Yamamoto Motoyanagi said calmly and thought for a while. He felt that things must not be that simple. At this time, Yifeng suddenly suggested, Captain, I heard that the corridor of the Great Spirit Book records all the information about the Soul World. Maybe there are some clues that Aizen left behind in the Soul World. No way. After all, Yifeng's sign-in task this time was in the Great Spirit Book corridor. Although Yifeng has already started a set of spiritual masking clothes, he can also choose to sneak in. But if you can openly and honestly go to the Great Spirit Book corridor to sign in, why should he sneak away? After all, not everything is delicious when done secretly. The Great Spirit Book corridor. The old man Yamamoto shook his head and said, that place is very special. Although it records all the past events of the Soul Society, the randomness is too strong and has little effect. To be frank, Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni also spent a long time in the Great Spirit Book corridor. It even took a lot longer than Aizen's sneaky search for information there. But, if compared to the number of valid data found, it can be said that the Yamamoto Yuanyanyu Shigekuni is a non-chief possession. Of course. In fact, this is not a single person's problem. There have been many captains of Gotei 13 before and after going there to experience it. But everyone's results are the same. Zahn does not save trouble, and Krypton does not change his life. Finally, everyone lost interest in that place. I think I can give it a try, maybe I'll have better luck. Yifeng said solemnly. Captain Yifeng doesn't know anything. Everyone who wants to challenge the odds has your mentality at first, but only after you have experienced the baptism of odds will you understand how terrible it is. The old man Yamamoto sighed rarely. Obviously. Chances are I have taught him a lesson. And most of them are very lively. Anyway, as a captain, I haven't been to the Great Spirit Book Corridor yet, so it's no big deal for me to try it, right? Yifeng finally found such an opportunity to apply for entry. Of course it won't be easy to let go. This is. The old man Yamamoto raised his brows. Simple thinking. Good. Since Captain Yifeng is so curious about the Great Spirit Book Corridor, this old man will take you there now. In the end. Although the area where the Great Spirit Book Corridor is located is more sensitive. But. It's not a completely off-limits place either. As long as the reasons are reasonable. Then. Under the leadership of Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni. The two came to the central 46 outdoor door. Yifeng, the Great Spirit Book Corridor is currently under the jurisdiction of the central 46th room, so this old man has to bring you in and say hello to them first. Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju said with a flat gaze. Good. Open the door. The two walked into the underground conference hall in the 46th room in the center. It's the same as Yifeng's impression. The 46th room in the center is composed of the so-called 40 sages and 6 judges. All of them were wearing black robes. They all look very old-fashioned. The two entered the chamber. Moment. One after another enchantment shrouded the two of them. At the same time. 5 walls made of murderous stones surrounded Yifeng and Yamamoto Motoryu Saiju. Just leaving a vent in the front. To this. Yifeng shook his head disdainfully. It seems that these guys are really scared of being killed by Aizen. There are so many protections made of murderous stones inside. But. Does this really work? In such a powerful world. Let a group of weak nobles hold important positions here. Fox fake tiger power. Did they really think these defenses will protect them? If you let Yifeng do it. Less than 2 seconds. He can kill the entire central 46 rooms. Captain Yamamoto. You suddenly brought the captain of the 9th division of the Gotei 13th team here. I don't know why. There are 6 screens at the top of the assembly hall. Sitting behind the screen are the 6 judges in the central 46th room. The one who spoke just now was the one sitting in the middle. Oh, because Captain Yifeng was on a mission in the world this time and found some important information. He wanted to go to the Great Spirit Book Corridor to see if he could find some useful information. Yamamoto Motoyanagi said in a flat voice. Oh. If you want to enter the Great Spirit Book Corridor, Captain Yifeng only needs to apply to me according to the normal process. Why bother the captain to come in person? Chapter 562 Sign in at the Great Spirit Book Corridor. The meaning of the other party is very simple. You can do whatever you want to apply as normal. Are you looking for the old man to be above the rules? Oh, this old man is a bit abrupt. I don't know how you are going to deal with this matter. The old man Yamamoto asked calmly. I heard the question from Captain Yamamoto. The members of Central Room 46 glanced at each other. Finally. A judge said, since the two have come, let's explain the reason directly. If there is no problem, we can make a judgment on the spot, but next time, I hope the two can follow the procedure. Yes. Yamamoto Motoyanagi nodded. Subsequently. He publicly stated the situation Yifeng encountered in the world and Yifeng's thoughts. In the end. This is not a particularly excessive requirement. After a brief discussion in the 46th room in the center. Agreed to their request. For this process. Yifeng felt really weird. The 46 rooms in the center were all chosen by the old man Yamamoto. If there is no old man Yamamoto to support them. They are not farts. But. During this process, Yamamoto Motoyanagi, Shigekuni, did not appear displeased because of their attitude. Night Wind. I know you must have some doubts in your mind. But. The answer to the question is actually very simple. since the 46th room in the center is the core of power of the Saranjay. Then, they should not be afraid of power, they should be like just now, and they should not even pay attention to me, the captain. Yamamoto Motoyanagi's idea is simple. Since they don't even care about the captain, who else will they care about? Only such a person can make the most just verdict. Of course. If the central 46 room really has a problem of principle, Yamamoto will also execute them without hesitation, and then support a new group of newcomers. This is Saroite's rule. It is also the rule of his Yamamoto Yuan Lu Saiju. Under the leadership of two sages in the central 46th room, Yifeng finally walked into the Great Spirit Book corridor. Ding! Detected that the host has arrived at the check-in location. Start signing in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in. Get reward 1. Ringing Ultimate, Steel Skin Ultimate, Super Speed Regeneration Ultimate. After the reward arrives, Yifeng frowns slightly. Loud turn, Steel Skin, Super Speed Regeneration. Isn't this all vain ability? Although he is not virtual now. But the virtual abilities have all reached ultimate. Is this not going to make him play virtual? Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni suddenly frowned when he saw Yifeng. He also frowned suddenly. Captain Yifeng, what did you see? Yamamoto Motoyanagi was slightly surprised in his heart. Could it be that Captain Yifeng has already seen some content from the Great Spirit Book corridor? This luck is too amazing, right? Yifeng pondered for a while, then returned to his senses. To be frank, the Great Spirit Book corridor is indeed a special place. Yifeng could feel that there was an indescribable power in it. As if this power really knows everything about Akatsuki's soul world. But Yifeng is like everyone else who has been here. Except for this rather odd feeling. He didn't see any news through the Great Spirit Book corridor. Whether it is useful or not. Fortunately, he didn't really need to read the news of the Great Spirit Book corridor. Because he already knows enough of the inside story, and he can just fool around. Yes, I saw a very important message as soon as I entered the door. Yifeng nodded solemnly. Oh, what's the news? Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni raised his eyebrows slightly. It can make Captain Yifeng, who has always been chatting and laughing, show such a solemn expression. This news seems to be critical. I saw that Aizen once came to the Great Spirit Book corridor, and he got a special method to make the king key. Yifeng rubbed his chin in a serious way, looking at Yamamoto Yuan Lu Saiju Kuni and said. Wang Jian, special method. Can Captain Yifeng explain in detail? Captain Yamamoto's eyes flashed. It was obvious that he had realized the seriousness of the problem. Aizen once said to himself that Kakuza town is a place of heavy spirituality. He may want to make the king key by offering the souls of Matsuri Kakuza town. It seems that he is preparing to do something big. Yifeng said this. Yamamoto's turbid old eyes widened instantly. The Wang Jian is the key to open the Lingwang Palace. This is the body that was restructured by the power of the Spirit King after Team Zero. Besides, even Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni didn't know there were other ways to make it. But the old man Yamamoto didn't have any doubts about what Yifeng said. Because the information recorded in the Great Spirit Book corridor is based on the will of the God of Death. That's an absolutely accurate thing. It's no wonder that Aizen Soyusuke will send two powerful broken faces to Kakuza town to inquire. It turned out to be to make the king key. The old man Yamamoto said in a low voice. This news is so important. If it is true as Yifeng said. So, the threat of the Reiwang Palace will be affected, and so will the living beings in Kakuza town. The situation is serious. You must prepare early. Captain Yifeng, have you seen anything else? Captain Yamamoto continued to ask. The rest are all unimportant things, and I have nothing to own. Yifeng shook his head, looked at Yamamoto Yuan Lu Saiju and said, since we have made Aizen's purpose clear, should we be able to leave now? Signing is complete. Yifeng didn't want to interfere too much with the rest. After all, if he shows that he knows too many secrets of Soul Society, instead, he may be misled by others. After all, no one wants their secrets to be known to others. Well, since Aizen has such wolf ambitions, we have to discuss a coping strategy. The old man Yamamoto said, you go back to the team with the old man first, and the old man will call the other captains to join the team. A captain's meeting. ... Back to the first team. Captain Yamamoto immediately arranged for Minister Jiro to go to each division to inform him. Nightwind. You should also be curious about what Wang Jian is. After Sparrow Minister Jiro left, the old man Yamamoto looked at Yifeng with a piercing gaze and asked. Not curious. I only care about my good life. As for the things that are hidden behind the good life, it's up to you old guys to worry about it. Yifeng smiled lightly. The grievances between the old and hidden, you can chat privately. He didn't want to get involved at all. Captain Nightwind. Although your statement just now makes the old man feel a little uncomfortable. But the old man has to admit it. You made the right choice. Chapter 563_Void Exploration Troop. The old man Yamamoto nodded. The world of souls is not as beautiful as it seems on the surface. There are actually many secrets behind it. After all, the world of souls itself existed before 100 Eternal. And how long is the history of death? So, instead of bothering with those things, get to the bottom of it. It's really not as free and easy as living like Yifeng. Of course, it is better to keep things in check between men and women. Otherwise, it is really easy to have problems. That's right. Wait a minute, I won't tell the other captains about the Wang Jian. Please help me keep this secret together. Captain Yamamoto ordered again. The King Key is related to the King of Spirits. The fewer people who know, the better. Otherwise, there's a good chance that there's going to be an even bigger mess. I understand, don't worry, I'm the best at keeping secrets. Done. Yifeng showed a sincere smile. But the system in his mind expressed contempt for Yifeng. No one else would believe it. The secret of this system has already spread to several worlds, okay. Not much effort. The captains of each team came to the first team one after another. Nightwind. What the hell happened? You come to the first team to report on the work, and the captain pulls us all together for a meeting. How do I feel that something big is going to happen? Broken Bee stood beside Yifeng with a cute face. Make everyone uncomfortable. Yeah, Captain Yifeng, tell us what's going on in this world. Ujawali also stood beside Yifeng and asked curiously. No way. Women are all cats, and curiosity is innate. Don't ask. Ask us to wait for the old man to tell you in person. Nightwind shrugged. Said to keep it a secret. Someone must be able to keep his mouth shut. It will not be leaked in the future. It didn't take long. The commander-in-chief finally walked in through the back door. He sat on the large, spacious chair. Deep eyes. Since the captains and the acting captains have all arrived, the old man will tell you something very important. Said here. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni's voice froze. The atmosphere in the venue instantly became solemn. Not long ago, Captain Yifeng entered the Great Spirit Book corridor accompanied by the old man, where Captain Yifeng discovered the conspiracy of the traitor Aizen Sosuke. Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni said slowly. Oh, conspiracy. What conspiracy? Is it more serious than the collapse of Jade? Aizen Soyusuke is going to dedicate the entire Kongza town to Matsuri to complete an evil plan. I wonder what the captains plan to do about this. Yamamoto Motoyanagi said. The old man Yamamoto's voice fell. The captain's suddenly fry. That traitor wants to offer Matsuri Kakuzako. Kakuzacho is not a big city in this world, but it still has a population of several 100,000. Aizen is really crazy. Kakuzacho is indeed a rare place of reincarnation in the world, but what exactly does Aizen plan to use? I think we should take the initiative, advance the plan to conquer the virtual circle, and kill that guy Aizen before he starts. Several captains talked nonsense for a long time. Finally, Captain Yamamoto heard some useful advice. Captain Zaraki is right, as the saying goes, to control others but not to control others. Instead of waiting for Aizen to attack, I need to wait one step ahead. After Captain Yamamoto praised Kenpachi, he read it again. Niyuli asked at a glance, Captain Ni, how are you preparing for the 12th Division to be able to let the main force of the Gote 13th team lead to the directional black cavity of the virtual circle together? If you want to conquer the virtual circle, you must send the main force over. And want to let this scale of combat power smoothly through the directional black cavity to reach the virtual circle and return safely. This has made the requirements for Niuli's directional black cavity very high. Captain, please give me a little more time. Technology research and development has reached a critical point. Once a breakthrough is made, we can go back and forth between the virtual circle and the soul realm at will. Niyuli replied excitedly. How long will it take? Captain Yamamoto raised his eyebrows and asked. This. Niyuli swallowed and said, in order to speed up the progress, I applied to go to the virtual circle in person to collect some information about the virtual circle, and then it should be fine soon, at most 7 days. 7 days. Heard here. Yamamoto Motoyanagi nodded. Slightly pondered. Although Aizen's plan is very frustrating, it must be possible to wait for 7 days. Yes, it just so happens that the old man also intends to send a virtual circle exploration troop to go to the virtual circle to collect more information about Aizen Yusuke, and to observe the movement of the virtual circle. You can follow along. Captain Yamamoto said. Although the situation is urgent. But, as the saying goes, knowing yourself and knowing the enemy can win 100 battles. Before the official battle, it is still necessary to do some tentative work. Oh, the Void Circle Expedition Team. Zaraki Kenpachi grinned and said excitedly, Old man, such a dangerous job must be my part, right? I haven't cut anyone for a long time. Zaraki Kenpachi has indeed not fought for a while. He intends to cut through the virtual circle with a knife. No, the old man Yamamoto shook his head decisively and said, the purpose of sending the virtual circle to explore the past is to seek information. Your character is too reckless, which can easily cause exposure and affect our plans. It's okay to let Zaragi Kenpachi charge into the battle. Gather information anyway. He is not suitable. Yeah, if it is to collect information, it seems to be the job of our 8th Division. Shouldn't this troublesome errand fall on my head again in the end? Jingle Chunchui took off the hat with an innocent face. What's the point of a virtual circle? There is loneliness everywhere. How can you stay in the sun and sleep in your own yard? It's interesting to tease my cute little Naneo occasionally. Captain Jing, this old man has other plans for you. I'll find you in person later. After Yamamoto Motonyanagi finished speaking, his eyes fell on Yefeng and said, Captain Yefeng, Aizen's information. This is what you found, so how about the task of going to the virtual circle to lead the team? It is very important to go to the virtual circle to collect intelligence. The leader of the team must be bold and careful. And you have to have superior combat power. Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni thought about it over and over again, and always felt that only Yefeng had such an excellent quality. But Yefeng didn't even think about it, he just waved his hand and rejected Yamamoto's proposal. Chapter 564 My warden is very busy. Old man, is it inappropriate for me to go? After all, I am a warden, and managing the prison in the Soul Society is already very hard. I have to work overtime every night to arraign those disobedient ball criminals, so how can I still have the energy to go to the virtual circle? Don't go, don't go. Joke. Someone just brought back a girl like Liza Yatomaru. Haven't had time to entertain them yet. How could he go on a business trip to a ghostly place like the virtual circle? Isn't this a mess? Seeing Yi Feng's refusal, the other captains all expressed admiration for Yi Feng's bravery. Yi Feng did what they wanted to do but were afraid to do. At this time, although Yi Feng rejected old man Yamamoto's work arrangement, but Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni didn't say much. He smiled lightly. It's fine if you don't go, you don't need to be so excited. Done. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni glanced at Broken Bee in disbelief. Captain Broken Bee, as the captain of the 2nd Division, such a task of going deep into the enemy's hinterland and inquiring about the enemy's information is your field of expertise, so you should be responsible for the virtual circle exploration team this time. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni said lightly. Yes, no problem. Hear the arrangement of the Commander-in-Chief. Broken Bee nodded resolutely. Just as Yamamoto Yuan Lusai Shigekuni said. Such a task. She is the captain of the 2nd Division. Well, fine. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni nodded with a look of relief, then glanced at Hitsugaya Toshiro again, and said. Captain Hitsugaya, the virtual circle exploration team needs to have a strong vice-captain who is back with the Grand Master to go with him, but this old man has other arrangements for the 4th Division, so let the 10th Division's vice-captain Ranju Matsumoto go with him. Let's go with you. Huh. Hitsugaya Toshiro was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, yes, I'm fine here. Although this arrangement is a bit weird. But, since the Commander-in-Chief said it, Toshiro naturally neither refused nor dared to refuse. In fact, don't look at Shigekuni Yamamoto Motoyanagi who seems to be asking everyone's opinions every time. Actually, Hitsugaya Toshiro knew very well what the consequences of refusing the captain's arrangement would be. After the leader of the team and the nurse have made arrangements, the old man Yamamoto said to Jingle Chunchui again. Beijing band leader. The old man heard that Yatomaru Liza has returned to the Soul Realm. She is now a guest in the 9th Division. I heard that they are very keen to contribute to Aizen. And she used to be the vice-captain of your 8th Division, presumably the same as Grandmaster's various intelligence collection methods. Go find her and let her go with you. Yahahaha, it's not a big problem, just leave it to me. Jingle Chunchui also agreed. As long as it's not him who goes to the virtual circle. Anyone can go. And then, Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni looked at Shiro Yukitaki again. Captain Yukitaki, Kuchiki Rukia of your division, how's your strength recovered now? Heard here. Yifeng finally couldn't stand it any longer. He stood up and interrupted Shiro Yukitaki who was about to speak, looked at the old man Yamamoto seriously and asked. Old man. I won't say much about the arrangement of the few just now, at least on the surface, there is still a little bit of truth. But what do you mean by asking Rukia now? You still plan to let Rukia go to the virtual circle as well? She's just an ordinary member of the purification team, not even an officer. Is it too much for you to let her go to the virtual circle? Yifeng despised the old man Yamamoto. Revenge. This is the revenge of eating fruit. I don't want Billion at all. Captain Yifeng, the old man certainly has reasons for the old man. Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni said. He picked up a cup of green tea from the seat, moistened his throat, and said. Rukia has been persecuted by Aizen. As far as I know, she has always hoped for revenge, but her strength is not enough to compete head-on with Bromian, so it is naturally the best way for her to seek information. Do you captains think it's right? Heard here. Yifeng couldn't help shaking his head. Have a look. This old man definitely doesn't want to get fat. Yes. Someone else rejected your old man's action plan. So. You put all the girls in the virtual circle, right? Does it fit? As expected of the old black belly of the soul world. Dog. I usually look at this old thing seriously. but in fact, black, black, black. Needless to say, I have changed my mind. I feel that with my relationship with Rukia, I should avenge her revenge, so I also applied to join the Virtual Circle Exploration team, and the team members are just those. Yifeng waved his hand, indicating that the old man can stop performing. Don't you just want to squeeze the surplus value of me, a migrant worker? As for the idea of hitting my sister, can't I go? By the way, go to the virtual circle to see how Xiao Nilu looks. Ah, Captain Yefeng, didn't you just say that the 9th Division was busy with business and there were so many prisoners that they couldn't leave? That means mess with me, right? Now you know how powerful the old man is. Old man, let's all do an open and bright walk, and you can say whether you agree or disagree. Yifeng gave the old man Yamamoto a disdainful look. Agreed, if Captain Yefeng can join, this old man feels that this trip is very appropriate. Yamamoto Yuanliu Saijokuni nodded with a look of relief. This trip is led by Yifeng. There are also 2 captains, Smash B and Ni Yuli, who are assisting by the side. Plus 2 vice captains and former vice captains, Matsumoto Renki and Yatomaru Liza. They certainly won't have a problem. ... After the meeting, Broken Bee followed Yifeng. It's a hit with a ball. Holding Yifeng's arm, there was a look of excitement on his face. Yefeng, we're going to the virtual circle. Thinking about it makes me feel stingy, right? Broken Bee's eyes flashed, revealing a look of incomparable desire. Don't make trouble, we are going to do serious business this time, and there is an outsider like Niyuli with you. When that time comes, you should pay attention to your personal image, and don't collapse. Yifeng shook his head. Even if the girls are serious and cold on the surface. But, once caught in a certain scene, their personalities will be completely reversed. At this point, Nightwind is very experienced. But in front of outsiders, you have to be careful, right? That pervert Niyuli will bring a driving recorder. What are you afraid of? When the time comes, let's hold a barrier. Bumblebee blinked. That means as if to say, with Nirvana outside, can the scene be arranged a little more thorny? Chapter 565_Rukia. Yeah, I leveled up. After a day, the virtual circle exploration team is ready. Niyuri followed behind this eccentric team. Feeling very uncomfortable. Cut. I can make it clear to you in advance. I went to the virtual circle this time to collect experimental data and use it to upgrade the direction Haicheng. I won't go with you to inquire about Aizen's intelligence. Niyuli said in a cold voice. Huh. Aren't you coming with us? Hear the arrangement of Namori. Broken Bee and Matsumoto Ranju immediately revealed a disappointed expression on their faces. This made Niyuli a little confused. Do you really expect me to help you fight in the virtual circle? Nonsense, why should I be with you people who are not right? Niyuli pouted and snorted coldly. You can do whatever you like, I don't know how to do it. Managed. What, why are you saying such a strange thing? Everyone is obviously a team, Captain Namori. Matsumoto Ranju shrugged and said with a smile that people don't understand what the hell you are implying at all. Okay, although Captain Ni is also a member of the Virtual Circle Exploration Team, the goal is indeed different from ours, so let's do as he said. Yifeng shook his head. Although there are some things Yifeng is also pursuing. But, can't play too crazy. There has to be some bottom line. Hey. I really envy you guys. You can all go to the Virtual Circle with Yifeng, but I can't. I'm the only one left in CO Lingting. Rukia looked at them resentfully. Sighed. She also wanted to go to the virtual circle to participate in group activities. But Rukia's power of death has not recovered. After all, she is so tired every day. Not only is the recovery situation not optimistic, but the small body is a bit hollowed out. Rukia, aren't we humans? You can't. Yefeng-kun is not here. We're nothing. Shiro Yukitaki shook his head speechlessly. From the warmest captain to not being human. Floating bamboo feels that this process is a bit fast. Ah, ha ha, Captain Ukiba, that's not what I meant. Rukia scratched her head and laughed. Okay, Rukia, just stay in the soul world and take good care of your body. Remember to take the medicine I prescribed for you on time. I think it has changed. Yifeng swept across Rukia's body. At a glance, Rukia is not as flat as she used to be. She is now. At least it has the level of Haruno Sakura. Improved greatly. Well, when you come back, maybe it's time to witness the miracle. That's it. After a simple farewell, Yifeng took the girls into the directional black cavity opened by Niyuli in the sealed land of the Technology Development Bureau. Virtual circle. Here, as always, the most desolate colors. Horizon. A cold moon hangs high. Shine on the icy earth. The lifeless dendritic quartz is everywhere on the ground. Some weak virtual will be cautiously and quickly swept across the ground. Overall it was lonely. At this time, a strange and very spiritual pressure fluctuation suddenly appeared in the sky. Immediately after, the sky seemed to be torn apart by a mysterious force. A strange black channel appeared in the air. This is the directional black cavity developed by Namori. The black cavity opened. Yifeng and his party jumped out of the black cavity exit. Look around. The surrounding environment is similar to the last time he came to the virtual circle. Everywhere is desolate. But, except for the night breeze, it is the first time that the girls have really stepped into the virtual circle. So, they all showed a rather curious look. Is this the virtual circle? It's no wonder that a cold-hearted monster like Shu is born. Yaminomaru Liza's eyes darkened. Although the mask is not the real virtual. But, when they put on bone masks, there is also an inexplicable coldness deep inside. That must be a false feeling. He. The concentration of spirits in the virtual circle is really ridiculously high. This is a perfect test ground. The little cuties in the virtual circle, here I come. Niyuli laughed recklessly as he spoke. Although the virtual circle is dangerous. But, for a tech madman like Niyuli, as long as the technology can advance, danger, not at all to worry about. Niyuli, the virtual circle is very big. If you want to act alone, you'd better not be too floating, and be careful to die here. Yifeng looked at the dancing Niyuli and reminded him kindly. Don't worry, Captain Yifeng, I have prepared for a long time to come to the virtual circle this time. You just need to stay out of trouble, because I won't save you. Niyuli gave him a smile. He was about to take out the big baby he had prepared and pretend to be a jerk. At this time, there was a sudden burst of dust in the distance. A majestic spiritual pressure rolled from the dust. Huh. Did we just come here? Did we meet the virtual group? Good luck. The corners of Niyuli's mouth grinned. The strength of this group is not weak. There are even 3 Achuka's level big virtuals mixed in. Everyone, be careful, the virtual circle is rich in spirits, and the virtual here is much stronger than the virtual world. Broken Bee's eyes narrowed slightly, and he was ready for battle. It's interesting to be strong, but they're not my goals, so don't expect me to help you deal with these ordinary idiots. Niyuli shrugged humbly. He put on a look like he was hanging up high with nothing to do with him. Niyuli, don't go too far. Salted fish doesn't do this either. Bumblebee frowned. Although their strength is not enough to put the virtual group in their eyes. But, Niyuli's attitude made Broken Bee quite unhappy. Che, that's what I'm like, do you mind me? Naiyangli curled his lips in disdain, not paying any attention to Broken Bee. To this, Yifeng smiled disdainfully. Subsequently, ghost out of the sheath, pointing diagonally in the direction that the virtual group rushed over. Boom! Countless thunderclouds gathered in the sky. Lightning flashes, the world riots. Countless thunder lights descended from the sky, destroying the rotten, pouring down, as if there were thunder lights everywhere in the sky and the earth. Like a natural disaster, the earth turned into scorched earth. And wait until this thunder tribulation disappears. That group of virtual groups that were living and running happily in the virtual circle. All annihilated. Yifeng-kun, you are so strong. Yaminomaru Liza couldn't help swallowing her saliva. Although she has long known that the night wind is strong. But Yifeng's operation just now refreshed her understanding of Yifeng again. If you can dance with such a strong person in the future. Should be wonderful, right? Chapter 566_10 Blades Conference. Cut. You bastard. You're a freak. A drop of cold sweat the size of a bean was left on Nimayuri's forehead. Obviously. Yifeng's operation just now made Nimayuri also extremely shocked. After all, that was a virtual group led by several Askechu-level great virtuals. Killed it all at once. Died without even seeing a shadow. And this guy just say or not speak his Zanpakuto's liberating language. Why didn't you hear it? But if not said, why did his broken knife suddenly see so many lightning bolts? Hang up. What a freak. This special code is even weirder than Lao Su. After Yifeng cleaned up the virtual group, he put away the ghost and gave Ni Yuli a cold look. Ni Yuli, the last time I came to the virtual circle, you played tricks on the directional black voice. I haven't settled the matter with you. If you dare to float in front of me again, don't blame me for being rude to you. Yifeng said in a cold tone. Also, if I kill you, no one of them will inform you, do you believe it? The voice fell. The girls nodded in agreement. A toilet like Namori. Kill is kill. At that time, it is enough to push the black pot over Aizen. To this, Ni Yuli couldn't help but fight a cold war. Captain Yifeng, I think it was a misunderstanding. After all, my technology was not very mature at the time. Maybe there was a bug. Ni Yuli swallowed her saliva. He could clearly feel the killing intent in Yifeng's eyes. So, at the point of life and death, he was cowardly. Okay, no need to explain, hurry up, you check yours, we check ours, if necessary, I will contact you through the communicator, but if you dare not come, don't blame me for killing you. Yifeng patiently instructed Ni Yuli. After sending away Namori, Yifeng and the girls started to look for the trace of Shuyi Palace. Have to say, the virtual circle is really too big. Even if Yifeng has the soul's eye, he can zoom in and out the picture from the perspective of God, but he still has not found the location of the Zai Palace in the picture. No way. They can only choose a random direction by feeling and start off. And at the same time, the whereabouts of Yifeng and the others have also been monitored by Sar Apollo, the great scientific fiction of the Zai Palace. Void Night Palace. Center Meeting Room. Aizen Soyusuke elegantly held Yuhiti and sat on his throne, with the 10 blades of the virtual circle standing below. But, because no 5 Nutra and number 4 Ulquiorra have been beheaded by the night wind one after another. So, the composition and ordering of the 10 blades has changed a bit. Number 1 to no 3 remain the same, namely, Koyatai Stark, Balagang Ruzumbang, Tia Harabel. The original number 6 Grimjiao Jacquard was directly promoted to the number 4 position. Zamali Lulu, Sal Apollo Glands, and Aronio Alurueri also moved up 2 places behind him. But Kiba is obsessed with switching between 10 and 0. So, he asked to keep his number 10 serial number. As for the new number 8 and number 9, the original old 10 blades, Dorudoni Alessandro del Socaccio and Taruti Sandovich were topped up respectively. Captain Aizen. Why do I feel that Yifeng-kun's strength seems to be stronger than before? Is this my delusion? Ichimaru Silver looked at the video footage accidentally captured by Sar Apollo, with an indescribably complicated smile on his face. Night Wind, Kun. You are finally here. Quickly kill Aizen and save me back. I've had enough of this ridiculous undercover life. I want to go back and see the chrysanthemum. But obviously, he was thinking about peaches. Yeah, Yamanaka Yekas is indeed a formidable enemy that can't be ignored. Aizen held the teacup with a faint smile on her face. To be frank, in Aizen's view, no matter how strong the night wind is, it is nothing more than similar to him and Yamamoto Motoyanagi. For Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni, it took Aizen many years to figure out how to restrain him. But the night wind is rising too fast. Aizen hadn't fully figured out Yefeng's situation, and they were about to kill them at the gate. But there is no good way to restrain Yifeng, which does not mean that Aizen has no plan to deal with Yifeng. He was already fully prepared. Aizen-sama. Isn't it a Yamanaka Yekas? Let me fight. I want to kill him. Who had just been promoted to number 4, was obviously gone. Ulquiorra, who was already cold, was stronger than Grimmjow. But Grimmjow is a great dude who likes to challenge strong opponents and simply enjoy the fun of battle. So, even if he had to face a master like Yifeng, he is still full of fighting spirit. Seeing Grimmjow actively fighting, Aizen smiled gratified. Very good. I'm very touched by Grimmjow-kun being able to think about me all the time. Then it's up to you to lead Zomari, Aranello, Dorudoni, and Taruti to intercept the guests from the Soul World. Yamanaka Night Wind is really strong. You can't be careless, but there's no need to panic too much. Don't be proud, don't be in a hurry. Under my guidance, we are absolutely invincible ahead. Aizen's words of pre-war mobilization are sincere. But Grimmjow frowned. Lord Aizen, I don't need help. It's enough for me to go alone. Grimmjow has always sought to fight on equal terms. That is 1 Volt 1. So, he doesn't like working with other 10 blades. Hee. Grimmjow-kun, I can understand your enthusiasm, and I appreciate your courage. However, are you questioning my decision just now? The voice fell. The terrifying Reiatsu within Sosuke Aizen was instantly applied to Grimmjow. In the face of this crushing force, Grimmjow suddenly felt a cold sweat pouring down his entire body. It was a feeling of oppression seeping into the bone marrow. Very scary. Aizen-sama, I didn't mean that. Grimmjow's face was bitter. Although he didn't particularly like Aizen, he still showed due respect. Since it's not, let's go. I hope you can bring a little surprise to Yefeng-kun. Azumo smiled faintly. Subsequently, he glanced at Ichimaru Silver who was indifferent beside him. This moment, Aizen Suo Yusuke suddenly missed the blind man Dongxian wanted. If Tosin is going to be here. Grimmjow dared to question Aizen's decision, and he would definitely teach Grimmjow a lesson directly. Ichimaru Silver can only smirk. Like a clown. Chapter 567 Aizen's ultimate plan. Grimmjow arrived after leaving the Palace of the Night. No one Koyatai Stark looked at Aizen with some puzzlement and asked, Lord Aizen, why are you only letting Grimmjow and the others go? If you really want to kill that god of death, let's dispatch efficiency together. Should be higher, right? After Stark raised this confusion, Balagang and Harabel also nodded together. Generally speaking, the more powerful the enemy is, the more difficult it is to take turns giving away the head. Be sure to get a kick out of it. Use the most powerful force to directly obliterate the opponent. Otherwise, that is equivalent to giving the other party experience and waiting to be forced to slap the face by the other party. This is very undesirable behavior. But Aizen just smiled faintly at this. Everyone, the reason why you are staying is because you have more important tasks to do next. Aizen glanced at Sar Apollo and asked, how are the things I asked you to prepare? Lord Aizen, you're almost ready, wait a few more hours, and you can go to the world. Sar Apollo pushed the white bone mask in the shape of glasses on the bridge of his nose, and an evil smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Very good. As expected of Apollo-kun. Aizen smiled and stood up from the throne. His eyes swept across the top 3 of the 10 blades. Everyone. Then you can go back to your room first and act as usual. When the time is right, I will notify you to come over. After listening to Aizen's arrangement, there was confusion in the eyes of the 10 blades. Why is it so formal? But, although they were a little stunned, they did not express any doubts about this, but returned to their respective territories obediently. After the meeting, Ichimaru Silver looked at Aizen with a smile and asked, Captain Aizen, do you really have the confidence to defeat Gote 13 in Kuzucho, create the King Key, and go to Lingwang Palace to grab another Benyu? Hear Ichimaru Silver's question. Aizen glanced at Ichimaru Silver indifferently, and smiled. Who knows, maybe I will be killed in this battle, but I am very curious about what the enemy will use. Way to kill me, say it, Silver. This moment, Ichimaru Silver really wanted to complain in his heart. After all, Silver who learned the truth. Aizen's question was actually a provocation for him to eat guago. But he couldn't show anything like he already knew the truth. He could only keep smirking. Live like a clown. Actually, the goal of Aizen's actions this time is very clear. Although Aizen has successfully merged with his own collapsing jade. But Aizen still didn't have the confidence to defeat Yifeng in one fell swoop. After all, Aizen's plan for Yifeng has gone wrong many times in a row. So, this time, he chose a more secure approach. He asked Grimjow and the others to find Yifeng, not really expecting them to kill Yifeng or delay Yifeng's footsteps. Aizen wanted them to go to Yifeng to die. Use them to tell Yifeng the general direction of Zai Palace, and guide Yifeng to arrive at Zai Palace in time. Because it's here. Aizen Soyusuke has already arranged a surprise to welcome Yifeng. And at the same time, Aizen will lead the top 3 of the 10 blades to Kakusa town. If Death didn't have time to react, then he will directly create the King Key. If Death gets in the way of his plans in Kusako, that Aizen will kill the god of death and then create the King Key. It's that simple. Wait until there is a King Key. Aizen can go to the Lingwang Palace above the clouds, and he can snatch another Benyu preserve there. And after getting 2 collapse jade, Aizen will give Yifeng a fatal blow. Everything is planned. Very secure. At this time, Yifeng is leading the girls to continue moving in the opposite direction to Shuyi Palace. Along the way, the girls are trying their best to jump the Bean Night Wind. It is clear. Someone is greedy for someone's body at night. But the location of the Zai Palace has not been found yet. Yifeng has no intention of doing anything else for the time being. After all, he knights someone as a person in charge. Now that the mission has been taken over, it has to be completed successfully. It's not too late to do anything else after you're done. That's it. I don't know how long it took. Along the way, they killed a lot of innocent scattered and miscellaneous virtual, but they never found out the relevant information of the virtual Night Palace. This also reflects the importance of Yamamoto Yuan Ryusai Shigekuni first sending an exploratory troop into the virtual circle to inquire. Otherwise, it would be very sad if the large army directly entered the virtual circle and got lost in the virtual circle. Finally, just when Yifeng couldn't find the location of Shuyi Palace, he felt a little irritable. When ready to decompress, a very terrifying void spirit pressure rushed from behind them. Such a powerful Reiatsu, but I feel that the number of voids is not large, so it must be a broken face, right? Broken Bee stopped and looked into the distance with a solemn expression. Don't worry, there is Yifeng. No matter what kind of enemy comes, it should be instantly killed. Matsumoto Ranju chuckled lightly. That's not necessarily true. If the other party is a beautiful woman with a broken face, your Captain Yifeng will probably not be able to do it. Lisa Yamanmaru pouted. This way, Yamanmaru Liza has basically figured out Yifeng's preferences. Beauty is justice. This is her conclusion. Although such Yefeng seems a little superficial, Liza Yamanmaru said that everyone wants to go together. I said, the old man Yamamoto asked you to perform tasks and contribute to the virtual circle, not for you to travel. Can you be more serious? Yifeng was a little speechless. Yifeng has seen the 5 broken faces that are killing them through the world of Soul Eye. Be honest. Although this time all come here are weak chickens. But, after all, it is also a few generals under the hands of Aizen. Can you give people a little face? It's alright to pretend to be nervous a little bit. By the way, since the broken face came from behind us, does that mean that the Zai Palace is likely to be in the direction behind us? Shouldn't we go the other way? Although Broken Bees are also Nympho. But she is also the captain of the 2nd division. So, when encountering serious things, her reaction was still a little faster than Matsumoto Ranki and Yatamaru Lisa. Yes, most likely wrong. Nightwing nodded. There is no way. After all, it's all about luck. Wrong is wrong. Chapter 568 Self-Righteous Bastards. Then, we are afraid that we are far away from Zai Palace now. Matsumoto Ranju shrugged helplessly. No, judging from the time we entered the virtual circle and the speed at which they are chasing now, the virtual night palace should not be too far away from us. As long as the direction is right, it will not take long to find the virtual night palace. Quote. Yifeng probably did a mental calculation. Just find the right direction. It shouldn't be a big problem for them to find the Zai Palace. It didn't take long. Grimjow had already appeared in front of Yifeng with several other 10 blades. Look at the broken face in front of you. The broken bee and the chrysanthemum could not help shrinking their pupils. Although they had expected the enemy to be strong. But it wasn't until they were really in front of them that Broken Bee discovered that even the weakest of these guys had a captain-level Reiatsu. And Yifeng also told them about breaking the face and returning to the blade. Once these guys return to the edge, the strength will increase a lot. That is to say, if they hadn't come with Yifeng this time, there is a good chance of a crisis. Thought here. Bumblebee breathed a sigh of relief. Yifeng, I'll leave it to you next. Although the Broken Bee is not afraid of breaking the face. But she still took a step back very obediently. To be honest, this kind of feeling of being depended on and not needing to charge yourself is really good. Humph. Yamanaka Night Wind. I don't think you are particularly strong. Did you really kill Ulquiorra? Could he betray Aizen and find a place to hide? Ha 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 ha. Grimjow looked Yifeng up and down. He did not feel that terrifying aura in Yifeng. So, he felt that Yifeng might not be as strong as he imagined. Grimjow, don't be careless, don't forget, if Aizen-sama didn't take the initiative to break out Reiatsu, we wouldn't be able to sense that terrifying oppression in him either. 5 Blades Zomari Lulu reminded Grimjow with a serious look. Of course. This is not to say that Zomari thinks Yifeng has the same strength as Aizen. He's just a bit more cautious in character. Che, are you telling me that this guy has the strength of Aizen? If so, do you think Aizen will let us kill him? Isn't that just letting us die? Grimjow he smiled disdainfully. Although Grimjow doesn't respect Aizen that much. But they are all generals under Aizen. It is impossible for Aizen to pit them. That's right, Aizen-sama just promoted me back to the position of 10 blades. I have to do well this year. Taruti Sandovich licked the corner of her mouth, and her purple wavy braids followed suit. The wind blew, revealing teardrop-like marks on his face. Although she is weak. So weak that even Ishida Yulong couldn't beat him in the end. But this didn't stop her from being arrogant. To be honest. So far, in the entire virtual circle, I am afraid that only Aizen is the only one who truly understands Yifeng's strength. So, they belong to the kind of idiots who were sold by Aizen and still working hard to count the money for Aizen. To this, Yifeng gave them a pitying look. He decided not to divide them into 8 paragraphs. Just let them die. Hey, I warn you a few. Leave this Yamanaka Yefeng to me, and you can do whatever you want with the others. Grimjow raised his head arrogantly, and said with a disdainful smile, if anyone dares to interfere in my battle, don't blame me for being rude. Grimjow pursues a fair 1v1 fight. Never disdain to use virtual C tactics. So, as soon as he came up, he laid out the rules. Okay, then I'll deal with the captain who is as petite as me. Let's see who is the cutest, hee hee. Taruti's deep purple lips parted slightly, and a burst of sound came out. Weird laughter. The only 2 captains have been chosen by you, then teach me the remaining 2 beautiful ladies, and I will let them get the most beautiful death in my fraternity. Zomali looked at Liza Yatamaru and Renki Matsumoto seriously. The skull earrings in the ears swayed. A golden glow bloomed from the golden eyes. No way. People rely on clothes. These 2 do not have Captain Yuri, they are mostly 2 rookies. But Zomali's ability is an intoxicating fraternity. That is, control the body of the enemy. These 2 beauties can definitely bloom beautifully under his control. Huh. What? Has the enemy been divided up by you? I really hope their strength can be stronger, otherwise, wouldn't Dorudoni and I have no chance to shoot? No 6 Aronio in a white robe gave a smile. As if he was really strong. That's good. Since everyone has agreed, then I will go. Taruti's voice fell. Clusters of feathers pressed towards the broken bee cover like sharp arrows. Although it was only a feather, it was as sharp as steel, and terrifying flames rubbed against the spirits in the air. To this, the corners of the broken bee's mouth rose. She didn't make any defensive gestures at all. Because she knows. Yifeng would not hurt her. As expected. Just when that man Tianyu Mao hit. Yifeng raised his hand slightly, and an ice wall instantly blocked in front of Broken Bee, blocking all of Taruti's attacks. See here. Taruti pouted towards Grimjian and said coquettishly. Grimjow, what the hell is going on with this guy? Isn't he your opponent? How can you let him interfere in my fight? Grimjow raised the corner of his mouth and looked at Yifeng arrogantly. Death, when you are facing me, you dare to be distracted and help others. Do you look down on me too? This is a price to pay. The voice fell. Grimjow let out a wicked laugh, his fingers bent like a skyhook, and grabbed towards Yifeng's head. Boom. Yuhi light shone from Grimjow's palm in an instant. This is one of Grimjow's signature ultimate moves. You thought I was going to catch you, but in fact I was arranging a virtual flash. Because the place Grimjow uses for the flicker is the palm. Generally impossible to guard against. Next moment, the monstrous Yuhi color flickered and bloomed. The Reiatsu, which belongs to the 10-blade shattering level, was highly concentrated and attacked Yifeng with a powerful impact. To this, Yifeng smiled faintly. He pointed towards the Yuhi-colored flicker in the air. A word came out of his mouth. Rush. One of the ghost ways, Chong, the easiest move, and Yifeng's favorite move. Just see. A condensed white shock wave transmitted along Yifeng's fingertips. Hit Grimjow's phantom. 2 terrifying spiritual pressures collided. Instantly set off a heat wave again and again. Chapter 569_10 Blades as a joke. See this scene. Grimjow's unruly smile instantly froze. If he remembered correctly, the move Yifeng just used should be the weakest move among the ghosts of death, right? That's the trick. Can it actually offset his highly compressed virtual flash? How is this possible? At this time, Yifeng looked at the bewildered faces in front of him, and a mocking smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. No wonder you're going to be blue-dyed bastards. It turns out that your Reiatsu is so much weaker than I thought. But yes, you are just. Speaking of which, the night wind made a sound. What he meant to say was, you 10 blades are nothing more than monsters that Aizen transformed from Bengyu. But Yifeng thought about it. The girl behind him was actually transformed from Bengyu. So. He took the sarcasm back again. Okay. Let's get down to business. Are you thinking that you should complete the return to the blade first, and then attack me? Maybe it will be successful just now. Hear this. Grimjow was shocked. He did think so. His fictitious dodge just now was just a tentative attack. If he had known Yifeng would use the ghost way of rushing to fight, he should have returned to the blade first, and then launched a more powerful virtual flash, such as Wang Ji's virtual flash. Looks like I'm right. But don't think about it too much. Because in front of me, you have no chance of returning to the sword at all. The voice fell. The ghost in Yifeng's hands came out of its sheath. An earth-shattering sword glow rose from the ground in an instant. Grimjow looked at the oncoming slash. His fingers trembled slightly, instinctively wanting to draw the knife to block, but Yifeng's knife was so fast that he didn't have time to react. Boom. Go down with a knife. Grimjow was directly blasted away. Hot blood scattered in the sky. The dignified 10 blades even received the lunchbox without even using the return blade. Dying. Jay. Grimjow was beaten by him. How is that possible? Taruti's eyes widened. He looked at the big pit in the distance with disbelief. Although Grimjow has always been at odds with everyone because of his personality. But everyone has to admit it. Among the current 10 blades, his number 4 is well deserved. But a 10 blade as strong as Grimjow was instantly killed by the opponent. So what did they do? Okay, the first opponent has been dealt with. Who of you are going to die first? Yifeng thought for a while, thinking calmly. The strange black knife was already aimed at the remaining 10 blade broken face, or else I'll just send you guys on the road. After all, I'm still in a hurry. Let's go together. Go straight to the blade. Calm down. The cursed eye Senga. Zamali felt the powerful oppression emanating from the blade of Yifeng. The heart was pounding suddenly. Then, he chose to return directly to the blade. The other 10 blades also came to their senses after hearing Zomari's reminder. At the same time, return to the blade. Turn around, Baron Storm. Eat him up, Ghoul. Break it, Wheel Tai Yan. The liberation voices of breaking the face and returning to the blade one after another. And at the same time, the spiritual pressure on the 4 broken faces skyrocketed in vain, and the body shape began to change. But, just as their return to the blade was about to be completed, a terrifying spiritual pressure instantly shot up from Yifeng's body. Boom. A sense of oppression they had never experienced suddenly hit them. That feeling is terrifying. Directly interrupted their return. It's impossible. How could he have such terrifying strength? I must live. I must bring this information to Aizen-sama, otherwise Aizen-sama may misjudge him. Have to say. Among the 10 blades in the virtual circle, Zamali is the most adored Aizen's broken face. Even at this time, he was still thinking about his family's plan, not just his own life and death. To this, Yifeng shook his head dismissively. Zamali. Do you really think that Aizen has nothing to do with it? He asked you to come here, but he just wanted to remind me that I went in the wrong direction. He may have set up a trap in the Zai Palace, waiting for me to pass. Yifeng smiled. It's no wonder that in the original plot, Aizen didn't care about the life and death of these broken faces. Because, don't look at their lofty status in the virtual circle, but they are just some experiments of Aizen. They are not qualified to be Aizen's comrades in arms at all. Just a toy. It's impossible. Don't slander Aizen-sama. Aizen-sama wouldn't treat us like that. Zamali, don't deceive yourself. With his strength, do you think Aizen really doesn't know? Aizen may really want us to die. Brother Yifeng, I was wrong. Let me go. As long as you can let me live, let me do anything, don't kill me. Under the pressure of the night wind, Taruti has completely lost the will to resist. She was crushed to the ground by the spirit, prostrate, sweating profusely, and her breathing became extremely heavy. So, in the face of death, she is ready to surrender to Yifeng. After all, judging from the three girls around Yifeng, she should be someone who likes girls. Unfortunately, Yifeng did not intend to open a harem on the plane of death. Then, he shook his head indifferently. A knife's edge. A cold air burst out instantly and froze the remaining four broken faces into popsicles. Hey. I hope that the performance that Aizen prepared for me in Zai Palace can be a little more interesting, and don't be boring like you guys. Look at the ice sculpture in front of you. Look at the confusion, horror, regret, and other complex expressions on their faces before they die. Yifeng let out a long sigh. To be frank, in the original plot, Grimjiao really surprised Yifeng when he first appeared. After all, at that time, everyone thought that Ichigo of Bankai had already stood at the top of the Soul Society. Result. After Grimjiao appeared, he crushed Bankai Ichigo lightly. Then, Yifeng thought this was simply a god. The Gote 13 team of the Soul Society was simply weak. But look now. 10 blades is a joke. Yifeng, it seems that our mission in the virtual circle is just to inquire. You don't really have to fight Aizen. Matsumoto Ranju swallowed. Although Lu Anju believes in Yifeng's strength. But this seems to be different from what I said when I came. Is it necessary to fight like this? Chapter 570_raw rice cooked into 8 treasures rice. Yeah, Yifeng, since Aizen has discovered us, let's go to Zai Palace. Is it really appropriate? Broken Bee thought calmly and analyzed a little, with hesitation on his face, and said. Besides, don't you think that Aizen deliberately sent them these weak chickens to relax our vigilance? Maybe Zai Palace has a powerful face. Just like what Yifeng just said. Since the enemy is afraid that they are going in the wrong direction, it means that Aizen is mostly prepared in the Zai Palace. They are past now. Isn't that just throwing yourself into the net? After listening to the suggestions of the two girls, Yifeng fell into a short period of thought. That's right. This time, he was completely forced by old man Yamamoto to come to the virtual circle. So, complete the information investigation as required and you are done. Want him to kill the boss directly. Is there anything so cheap in this world? Then, Yifeng is preparing to reward the girl after the war. But this time, the system in Yifeng's mind suddenly sent a sign in task. Ding. Please go to the virtual night palace to sign in, the task is valid for 1 day. After hearing the task arrangement sent by the system, Yifeng couldn't help raising his eyebrows. He just wanted to return to the soul realm to return to life, and then he came to this kind of task. Dog system. Have you been kidnapped by old man Yamamoto? If so, please wink. Captain Yifeng, Captain Broken Bee, and Vice Captain Ranju are right. Aizen Sosuke is indeed a difficult guy to deal with. I think we should take a long-term view. Yaminomaru Liza sighed softly. Although her enemy is in the Palace of Virtual Night. Although she really wanted to rush into the Zai Palace to find Aizen desperately. But Yaminomaru Liza can't let Yekas and the others go on an adventure for her own selfishness. So, she also gave Yifeng a long-term suggestion. Hear what the girls have to say. A complex look flashed across Yifeng's eyebrows. Subsequently, he smiled lightly. Don't worry, as long as you advance and retreat with me, we are absolutely invincible ahead of us, and I will take you to Hammer Aizen. Although this time the sign in task is a time-limited task. Just drag it out for the day. The task can be automatically cancelled and will not be stuck here. But the sign in task has come, is there any reason not to do it? And Aizen, this guy has designed Yifeng several times. Although Aizen becomes a clown every time. But Yifeng still has to go to Aizen to settle this account. So, the Night Wind has decided. He is going to take the girls to the Zai Palace. Do something. A certain moment. Yamamaro Liza looked at the free and easy Yifeng and fell into a state of nympho. A thought ran over and over in her mind. Yifeng actually took me to take revenge. Regardless of the danger. Such a man. Very handsome. This moment. Yamamaro Liza was completely attracted by Yifeng's domineering arrogance. Her favorability for Yifeng also suddenly increased to 87 points. This is also the scariest part of the system. Actually, one person's favorability toward another person usually fluctuates. It's normal to have a burst of goodwill in an instant. Generally speaking, after such a moment occurs, the favorability will drop back soon. So, although men and women in reality will also have some impulses to the opposite sex at a certain moment, but they are not going to do too much. But Yifeng, the favorability plugin awakened in the super seminary, is very unreasonable. As long as it reaches 87 points, it will be locked up. Don't think about it. Although Yifeng sometimes feels that this setting is too inhumane. But the wood is done. Raw rice has been cooked into 8 treasures rice. What can he do? Just like now. Yamamaro Liza's pupils turned into Yuhi's heart. The expressions Broken Bee and Luanju can understand at a glance. Then, Yifeng activated an enchantment called Mosaic around him. Cut off all perception from the outside world. After 3 hours, boundaries shattered. Yifeng and his sisters were filled with joy in publishing their hearts. Especially Yamamaro Liza. She is not too young, and she has seen little Lubei for hundreds of years. But she has never had the opportunity to practice. I can understand how uncomfortable this feeling is. And today, not only did Liza Yagamaru have the opportunity to practice, she was also a group activity, and she was also an experienced truck driver like Yifeng. Could she be happy? Okay. It's all done, now it's time to get down to business. Yifeng moved his old waist, and after determining the direction, he led the girls to the Zai Palace. Just when Yifeng took her sister to Zai Palace to prepare for a decisive battle with Aizen. Sarapallo has already prepared everything to go to Kakuzucho. Lord Aizen, the passage is ready, and Wandawai's Margera's state has been adjusted to the best state. If Yamamoto Motoyanagi comes to the world, I guarantee that he will receive a big surprise. Quote. Sarapallo pushed the glasses-shaped mask on the bridge of his nose. Mouth grinned. There was a gloomy laugh. Wandawai's Margera nicknamed the Prince of Fire. The ability is to absorb fire. He is a broken face specially transformed by Aizen with the power of Bengyu in order to deal with Zanpakuto of Yamamoto Motoyanagi. But because of this year-round transformation, although Wandawai's was able to seal the old man's Zanpakuto, he himself lost his language, consciousness, knowledge and reason, and became an emotionless toolman. Very good. Silver, go and inform the corresponding combat personnel, and let everyone follow my plan. Aizen gave an order. Aizen's plan is very clear. He didn't want to have a head-on conflict with Yifeng yet. So, Kiba Mi and Sarapallo in the 10 Blades stay in the Palace of Void Knights. Used to contain the night wind. And he will take Ichimaru Silver, Koyatai Stark, Balagang Ruzumbang, and Tia Harabel to Kakuza town to carry out the plan to make the king key. It didn't take long. All present. Aizen Sosuke finally stood up from the throne. Everyone. Your war is about to begin. But don't worry about it. Just advance and retreat with me. In front of us, we are absolutely invincible. Finally. Led by the night wind. The group of them came to the door of Zai Palace after realizing it. Pity. They have missed the opportunity to fight Aizen directly. Yefeng. Is this the Zai Palace? It's so big. Matsumoto Ranju swallowed. Chapter 571_Void Night Palace. Although the area of Seraiti is also very wide. But the Zai Palace is a completely enclosed palace, completely different from the open courtyard environment of Saranje. So, this majestic architectural style naturally gave them a lot of shock. Well, the Zai Palace built by Balagang back then was really extraordinary, but unfortunately it was robbed by Aizen. Yifeng looked at the Zai Palace and couldn't help but nodded. Buildings of this size. Even if it is placed in the super seminary, it is considered to be a relatively magnificent building. It seems that there are a lot of virtual talents in the virtual circle. But how should we get in? Although the building here is not a murderous stone, it seems to be able to confuse the spiritual pressure. If you can't find the entrance, it should be difficult to break through, right? Broken Bee raised her hand on the wall of Zai Palace, touched it. Then I slashed the wall with Zanpakuto without leaving a trace. It's all right. Let me come. Yifeng smiled lightly, pulled out the ghost pin to his waist, and aimed it at the wall. Puff. Although the walls of Zai Palace are hard, it is like a thin film to Goosh, who incorporates the characteristics of Dark Su Silver. It broke with a single poke. Into the virtual night palace. Yifeng's sign in task was triggered directly. Ding. It is detected that the host has arrived at the sign in location. Please sign in for an hour inside the Void Night Palace, and leaving is considered a mission failure. The sign in task this time took an hour. Yifeng frowned. This special meow is too long, isn't it? It seems. I can only solve Aizen as soon as possible, and then take my sister to do something that will make time pass faster. Next. Yifeng took the girls through a dark and narrow corridor. Opened the door. Appeared before them was a wonderful world with blue sky and Shirakumo. Such a scene is actually quite common. But this place in the virtual circle is very special. Don't tell me, Aizen is a person who can enjoy it. He has created an environment similar to the outside world in such a place. Yifeng looked at his surroundings and shook his head. Actually, wanting to enjoy the blue sky Shirakumo, this was originally the easiest thing for people like Aizen. He just needs to be the captain of his 5th division in a down-to-earth manner. Grow flowers, right, and the years are quiet. If you want to relax and entertain, you can also go to Liuhun Street. He is the captain. It is a godlike existence in Ryahun Street. Whatever you want. And now. He is in pursuit of his dreams. But it can only use the power of Bengyu's bug to forcefully create such an illusion. Have to say. From a certain point of view. Aizen, this guy is also quite pitiful. Yifeng remembers. After fighting against Aizen, Ichigo Wuzuki realized the loneliness in Aizen's heart. Perhaps. Aizen is also just a confused child. Thought here. Yifeng couldn't help but smile again. Such a black-bellied child is really rare. After another moment. Kiba Mi finally came to Yifeng. The so-called enemy meets Yuhi with special eyes. Kiba looked at Yifeng with a stern gaze, and was ready to give it away. Yamanaka Yifeng, we meet again. This time, I want to show you what the power of angry beasts is. Kill them, mad beast. After Kiba appeared. Adieu. Directly into the return blade form. After returning to the blade, Kibami's body became abnormally large. Has 12 big feet. Grim-faced. Like a demon in hell. Very scary. Boom. Phantom flash rushed out of Kibami's mouth. In an instant. The spirits in the air were even ignited by this phantom flash. Number 0 after returning to the blade is indeed very extraordinary. However, just when the phantom flash was about to hit Yifeng, he raised his hand slightly, covering his palm with a layer of frost, and then pinched Kibami's phantom flash. Puff. Yifeng's 5 fingers exerted force. Yuhi's color flicker suddenly disappeared into the air. What? Can you catch the virtual flash with empty hands? What kind of weird monster is your special code? Kibami's face darkened. Although this fictitious flash itself is only a tentative move used to play imposing manner. He knew Yifeng could definitely handle it. But he never imagined that Yifeng would be able to squeeze the virtual flash with his hands out of thin air. Kiba mi, is this what you call an angry beast? It still feels weak. Yifeng let out a sneer. He didn't particularly understand. Why does everyone like to start with a few small skills to warm up in the face of an enemy that can affect life and death? Can't you just go straight to the big move? Damn. I'm going to kill you. The anger in Kiba's secret heart was instantly ignited by Yifeng, and he let out an astonishing roar. His huge body twisted, a pair of big hands clenched into fists, exuding terrifying coercion, and smashed directly towards Yifeng's head. But as Kiba grew in size, he also became a very obvious living target, although there was a significant change in strength. Then Yifeng slashed out with an understatement. S blade easily cut through the steel defense at Kiba mi's wrist. Puff! Skull-sized fists flew into the air. Blood spurted out like a waterfall. Kiba mi, where is Aizen? Why isn't he in Zai Palace? Yifeng was not in a hurry to kill Kiba mi, because he discovered something strange. Aren't you the secret Aizen used to deal with me? Weapons. Are you sure? Kiba mi by chance after he came to Zai Palace. But just when Yifeng was fighting against Kiba mi, Yifeng used the Eye of Soul to check the situation of the entire Void Night Palace. Night Wind found. Aizen is not in Zai Palace. Including Ichimaru Silver, and the top 3 of the 10 blades are also not in Zai Palace. What's happening here? Did Aizen deliberately use him to fight the world when he came to the Zai Palace? But there is no problem in the present. Because Yifeng had already asked old man Yamamoto to contact Kazuki Urahara before he left. As long as the virtual circle changes, they can transfer Kuzucho to the Soul Realm just like in the original plot. So Yifeng is not particularly worried about the situation in this world. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect to be discovered by you. You are right, I am the ultimate weapon against you. Surprise or surprise, surprise. Kiba's secret voice fell. His eyes suddenly turned into a bloody yuhi color. Immediately after, he looked up to the sky and laughed wildly, giving off a crazy look. Subsequently, the huge body of the angry beast suddenly began to swell, like a balloon being blown, and it looked like it was about to do something. Yifeng, what's wrong with him? Why does it feel a little wrong? Broken Bee's brows furrowed tightly. Chapter 572 Aizen's Solo Show Part 1. Yifeng looked at Kiba mi's changes, and indeed felt that something was wrong. Inside Kiba mi's body, Yifeng could feel the 3 powers of Collapsing Jade, Great Wilderness, Angry Beast, and bursting out at the same time. To be frank, he couldn't figure out what the hell was going on with Kiba mi, but he must be doing something. Then Yifeng slashed out. The terrifying sword force rushed towards Kiba mi with frost and thunder. Devoured his enormous body. Boom! Kiba mi's body exploded after being hit. Blood gushed out. The blood seemed to undergo a wonderful chemical reaction in the air. In an instant, it turned into an enchantment and locked Yifeng and the others in it. Huh. Boundary. Just an enchantment. Yifeng frowned slightly. The characteristic of the angry beast is that it can continuously accumulate power through anger. This force is actually very powerful. But Kiba mi's use of the power within him is very singular. He just enhanced the flesh with that tyrannical power. Very inefficient. But now it seems that Aizen mostly used Bengu and some of the great wild spirits to transform Kiba mi. Through the self-destruction of Kiba's secret, the accumulated power can be formed into a special enchantment. Trap them in it. Damn, be careful everyone. Seeing this, Broken Bee immediately took Zanpakuto Shikai in his hand and took a defensive stance. And at the same time, Ranki Matsumoto and Liza Yatomaru also entered a state of battle. Then, Thrall Apollo, a virtual circle scientist with short pink hair, appeared outside the barrier. Everyone. Don't be so nervous. This enchantment is only used to temporarily trap you here. After all, energy is conserved. If we add some attack capabilities to this enchantment, it will inevitably affect the confinement effect of the enchantment, and general attacks should not have much effect on you. Sal Apollo tucked the hair on his temples behind his ears, and then let out a grotesque smile. Oh, since it's about energy conservation, then, that means, you think you can trap me with the power Kiba secretly accumulated through the angry beast. Are you serious? Yifeng smiled faintly, and Gui Che Shangling pressure violently slashed towards the barrier with a knife. But, although the barrier swayed obviously, as if it was about to break, it didn't really break. Yifeng was finally beaten in the face. Hee hee. Although your power may be stronger than Kiba Mi in general. But Kiba Mi-kun can release his power instantly after self-destruction through the power of Bengyu. And can your slash unleash your full power? Sar Apollo looked at Yifeng with a mocking expression and said. Destructive power is a combination of power and moves. In the world of the god of death, power naturally refers to spiritual power. There is no need to say more about the moves. The reason why the moves are divided into upper and lower is because the different moves have different utilization efficiencies of power. The two are complementary. To grandmaster a certain powerful move without power is a base. Vice versa. Although Yifeng's various skills have been upgraded to the ultimate rank. But there are still tiers above ultimate. Yifeng had already experienced this in the Super Seminary. So, as Sal Apollo said, although Yifeng can finally break the barrier here, but it can't be done in a short time. And Aizen has a high probability to use this time to defeat Gote 13. Really good calculation. As expected of Aizen Sosuke. After so many years, there is finally a sense of urgency again. A life that is too loose is really boring. Thought here. A knowing smile appeared on Yifeng's face. But, just when Yifeng felt that life was full of challenges again, the systems, ding, instantly made him feel dull again. The system seems to be talking. Do not worry about it. As long as there is this system. You were never invincible before. ... Just when Yifeng was temporarily trapped in the Void Night Palace, Aizen had already led his subordinates to fight with the Shinigami of Gote 13 in the sky above Kakuza-cho. Of course. The real Kakuza town has been transferred to the Soul World by Urahara Kazuki. The place where they are fighting now is just a realm perfectly recreated in Kusako. That's it. After the two sides experienced some fierce swings, the captains of Gote 13 were already scarred and their faces were filled with exhaustion and despair. Obviously, Aizen's strength is beyond their imagination. So, if you look back now on what you said at the beginning, do you think it was funny? Actually, I knew from the beginning that this is not the real Kakuza-cho, but this will not have any impact on my plan. Since Kakuza-te is in the Soul realm, then I will destroy you here, and then go to It's that simple to create Wang Jian in the Soul Society. Aizen's voice fell. Just after dealing with some minor issues, Ichigo Kurosaki, the bronze-level player of the mouth gun who rushed to the battlefield, frowned tightly. He thinks that Aizen is really too capable of pretending. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo wanted to be beaten again, so he rushed up with a slash, but he slashed lonely and was shot by Aizen instead. Ichigo, do you think it's a pity just now? Are you thinking that you should attack me after you've gone virtual? In that case, maybe you'll be able to succeed. Azumo smiled faintly. There was ridicule in the eyes of Kurosaki Ichigo. You bastard. Kurosaki Ichigo got up from the ground, Kiba closed tight, and was shocked at the same time. Because what Aizen said was exactly what he thought. Can this guy read minds? Damn it. Ichigo. In fact, since you have come before me, it means that your companion is not in danger. So, you and I have no reason to go to war, do you? You are here only because you have a pure sense of responsibility in your heart. And a blade without hatred can't hurt the enemy. Do you understand it? Aizen smiled lightly. Although he was surrounded by enemies, he gave Ichigo a small lesson calmly. It seems that the enemy is nothing but a cloud. But, have to say, although what Aizen said was false, but his compulsiveness was indeed very high. At this time, silver-level player who was misled by Aizen's suicide note and hammered by Yefeng, stood up. He looked at Aizen coldly and said, Aizen Sosuke. You were wrong. Big mistake. When I wait for the captain of Gote 13 to fight, I will never inject hatred into the blade. You say that a blade without hatred can't hurt the enemy. Then you really don't deserve to be the captain of Gote 13. You are only worthy of living with a monster like the virtual. Chapter 573 Aizen's solo show, middle. White silver class mouth cannon player, took over Ichigo's mouth cannon. Irony. To this, Aizen smiled disdainfully and said, it turned out to be Captain Hitsugaya. To be frank, I was really surprised. I really didn't expect the words just now to come out of the mouth of you, who hated me the most in Gote 13. Do you dare to say that there is no hatred in the blade you pointed at me? Or did all your hatred evaporate when Hinamori-kun survived? Hear this. The calmness on Hitsugaya Tushiro's face disappeared instantly. There seemed to be a flame about to burst out of his eyes. You want to say that I'm not worthy of being the captain? Hitsugaya Toshiro said angrily. That's right. My blade is full of hatred for you. I can't wait to tear you to pieces. Even if I don't be the captain. It doesn't matter. Seeing that Hitsugaya Toshiro, who was still trying to teach Aizen a lesson just now, lost the game. Embark on a really fragrant road. Tsuruuki Hiyori couldn't help drawing his knife and rushed towards Aizen. What's so good about mouth cannons? Wouldn't it be delicious to chop it directly? But, just when Tsuruuki Hiyori was about to rush to Aizen, gold-level mouth cannon player Hirako Mako Shunbu blocked Tsuruuki Hiyori, stopped her, and said calmly, Hiyori, don't be impulsive, don't rashly approach Aizen. To this, Aizen smiled again. As expected of Captain Hirako. You have come to a very thoughtful conclusion. But, can't get close. This statement is so ridiculous, please allow me to laugh for a while. Aizen smiled and then continued. Actually, whether it is approaching rashly, approaching after thinking, or staying in place. Do you think your ending will change in any way? It's useless. Your failure is a result that has been decided in the past. HMPH, don't try to provoke us, we won't lose our cool because of anger. Hirako Mako's eyes were cold. Although he was very angry, he knew that if they wanted to defeat Aizen, they must not be impulsive and must remain calm. Hee. Captain Hirako, why are you afraid of losing your cool? I don't understand, what are you worried about? If you are worried about death, didn't you all die that night 100 years ago? Then, under this successive provocation, Hirako Mako finally couldn't stand it any longer. It's so pretentious. Hirako Mako freed Zanpakuto from inversion. Although Aizen was injured at first by relying on the visual reversal feature, he was eventually crushed by Aizen. Damn. It's a pity that the broken bee is not here, otherwise, with my Zanpakuto's ability to reverse the visual impact, and her Zanpakuto's ability to attack the same location, it can kill you lawfully, and it will definitely kill you. To this, Aizen shook his head again. Actually, the battle of the god of death is the battle of Reiatsu. Your Reiatsu is too far from mine. Aizen didn't finish speaking. A dazzling knife light suddenly flashed across. A platinum-level mouth cannon player appeared. Then will my Reiatsu be a little stronger than theirs? Jingle Chunshui suddenly appeared and slashed towards Aizen with a slash, and the terrifying sword light passed by, finally making Aizen a little more serious. That's too much, Bandmaster Jing, I haven't finished my words yet, can't you wait for me to finish speaking before starting? Aizen smiled lightly and said, After all, death is not something you need to worry about. Things, you said right. Yeah, although what you said makes sense, it's a pity, if the other party is a man, I really don't have the patience to listen to him finish. Jingle Chunchui pressed the brim of his hat, and a bright light flashed across his eyes. So that's what it is, that's a pity. Then I'll deal with you guys easily and finish it off. Aizen smiled lightly, and slashed at Jingle Chunchui. Actually, the Battle of Shinigami is the Battle of Reiatsu. Your Reiatsu is too far from mine, so no matter what your Zanpakuto's abilities are, you can't threaten me at all, like it is now. Boom. Under a powerful slash, Jingle Chunchui was directly slashed and flew out. How is it possible? Why can you cut it? When did you activate Kyoka Suzuki? I've been closely watching your Zanpakuto's situation from the very beginning. Jingle Chunchui's shoulders gurgled blood. Looking at Aizen in disbelief. He didn't see Aizen's move just now until he was slashed. This is exactly the role of the mirror. But Aizen didn't activate the mirror, right? Hehe, head of the Jing band, when did you have the illusion that I haven't activated the mirror? This moment, Jingle Chunchui fell into despair. Under the mirror. He can't even see Aizen's attack trajectory, so how can he defeat Aizen? Finally. Just when Gote 13 lost its fighting spirit. Diamond-level player Yamamoto Motoyanagi Yaguni pulled out Ryujin Jaka from his waist. Yamamoto Yuanyujai Heavy Country. Are you finally willing to take action? Is it because you feel that you have no choice but to force it now, or is it because you found a flaw in me when I cut you down? No. I shouldn't have asked that because I don't have any flaws at all. Aizen Soyusuke had a faint smile on his face, and looked at the strongest god of death in Gote 13. Just beat him. So. Aizen took a very big step from the success of his plan. Aizen Sosuke. I have known you for hundreds of years, I really never thought that you would become what you are now. You really made Jinglingting ashamed because of you. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Yaguni liberated Zanpakuto from his hands. A flame of flame flowed over the blade. Ryujin Jaka. Oh. Didn't expect me to become what I am now. It's a pity. The former captain of Aizen is just your illusion. He didn't exist from the beginning, and now I am the real me. That's right. Although your Reiatsu is very strong, you still can't get rid of the control of Kyoka Shueyu, so how are you going to eradicate me? Even in the face of this man who is known as the strongest god of death in the soul world. There was never any fear on Aizen's face. Not bad. It's true that the old man can't decipher your mirror image, and I can't find out your true identity. But while the captains of the Gote 13th team were fighting against you, the old man had already placed Shinha in accordance with the 8 trigrams 9 palaces and 10 square positions. This move is called Hot Hell, and it can be used in the entire Kuza town. Perform indiscriminate wide area attacks. Quote. So. I don't need to see your evil figure at all. Chapter 574 Aizen's solo show below. It's hard to crack the mirror. Although Urahara Kazuki has proposed many solutions. But, judging from the captain lying on the ground, those methods obviously failed. So. By now. Yamamoto Motoyanagi, Shigekuni, could only adopt his last plan. As long as Hot Hell is successfully activated, Aizen is absolutely inescapable. As long as Aizen is hit, he will definitely reveal his flaws. At that time, old man Yamamoto naturally has the confidence to kill him. Tisk tisk. As expected of the most ruthless man in the Soul Society, this plan sounds really terrifying. But that way your men will also be destroyed by what you call a hot hell. Although Aizen said it was terrible, the smile on his face was honest. That's clearly talking. I prejudged your prejudgment. Humph. Aizen Sosuke. People like you won't understand. As the elites of Gote's 13th team, they have long had the consciousness to sacrifice one's death to punish the great evil. Suffer to death. The voice fell. The terrifying spiritual pressure on Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni rose into the sky. Flames like hell karmic fire gushed out from the blade. The great formation of the hot hell is activated. But just when everyone thought they were going to die with Aizen, a strange-looking virtual suddenly appeared behind Yamamoto Motoyuki Saijokuni. Made a strange noise. Subsequently, the flames that filled the sky all disappeared. Yamamoto Motoyanagi was holding in his hand also changed back to what it was before Shikai. What's the matter? Yamamoto Motoyanagi's vision changed dramatically. He could clearly feel the power in his Zanpakuto as if it was sealed away. His name is Wong Wadis. After returning to the sword, he is called Prince Fire Extinguishing. He was born specifically to seal your Ryujin Jaka, but in order to achieve this miracle, Wong Wadis paid a lot. Lovely little guy, quote. Azumo smiled faintly. So far, Zanpakuto Ryujin Jaka of Yamamoto's Yuan Yanyanju country was finally sealed by him according to his plan. Next, get rid of Gote 13. The Soul Realm will no longer have the power to stop him from going to the Spirit King Palace. Humph. In order to deal with this old man, you actually made such a cruel transformation to your subordinates, Aizen Sosuke, how cruel you are. Also, do you really think that you can defeat me by sealing the old man's Ryujin Jaka? Do you know why I have been the captain for thousands of years? Because there has never been a god of death stronger than this old man in thousands of years. The old man's voice fell. An iron fist instantly shattered the Prince of Fire Extinguishing. Have to say, Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni's level of white play is indeed very high. As expected of the captain of Gote 13. Tisk tisk. Yamamoto Yuanliusai Heavy Country. Do you really think I am cruel? They were nothing more than mindless beasts. Born only to devour each other. But I gave them meaning and made them dream, and they never thought I was cruel. So, in my opinion, you who smashed him to pieces can be called the real cruelty. Azumo smiled faintly. HMPH, Aizen Sosuke, this old man doesn't want to have such a pointless argument with you here. Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni let out a cold snort. Have to say, Aizen's mouth cannon is very fluent. Let's not talk about whether Aizen's combat power is the first of the god of death, but this ability to talk shit is definitely the strongest existence, there is no one. So, the old man Yamamoto would like to call Aizen the strongest. You said you didn't want to argue with me. Perhaps it's because of your disdain that you missed the most important part of what I said. You might as well think about it. Wong Wadis conceal the flames of your Ryujin Jaka. Then when he is killed by you, where will the flames originally absorbed by him go? Energy is conserved. Aizen's voice fell. Yamamoto Motoyanagi's expression finally changed. Wong Wadis not only sealed Ryujin Jaka's ability, but also absorbed the flames of hot hell. If those flames were in the hands of Yamamoto Motoyanagi, although the power would directly destroy the entire false Kakuzucho, it would be nothing more than that, and would not affect the surrounding world. But if those flames get out of hand, the world will be hit hard. Then, at this critical juncture, Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni did not hesitate to pounce on the flames gushing out from the broken arm and body of the fire-extinguishing prince. Forcibly block all attacks with your body. Boom. Terrifying flames erupted. The rays of the blazing fire Yuhi burst out. The terrifying heat wave spread rapidly around the gap between Yamamoto Motoyanagi Yakuni and the ground. The surrounding environment was instantly turned into scorched earth by this force. In the place where Yamamoto Yuanluzai was located, the earth was burning, and the land was broken and sinking rapidly, forming a charred black pit. And in the center of this big pit, Yamamoto Yuanliu Zaijigwo was covered in scars all over his body, and he no longer had the domineering arrogance he had just now. Obviously, although he blocked the attack, he also suffered very serious damage. Tisk tisk. as expected of the captain of the Gote 13th team. Such a terrifying explosive power was forcibly reduced to such a level by your body. Speaking of which, I may need to express my sincere thanks to you. Aizen Sosuke stood on the edge of the deep pit and slowly walked towards the old man Yamamoto at the bottom of the pit, with a smile on his face. But the smile seemed to be full of ridicule. At this time, Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni tenaciously raised his head. Although he looked seriously injured, the killing intent on his face did not retreat at all. Thank you, Aizen Sosuke. You don't want to be shy in front of this old man. Yamamoto Motoyanagi's voice was cold. Oh. I just said I wanted to thank you, and that wasn't an irony. After all, if you didn't control the destruction just now at this important juncture, then the fragile barrier you set up around this false Kakuzucho would definitely be destroyed, and the surrounding world would suffer too. So, of course I have to thank you. Thank you for working so hard to protect my world. In Aizen's view, sooner or later, he will replace the Spirit King as the supreme god of the three realms. So, in Aizen's eyes, the three realms already belong to him. ... Brother cute tilde. I said yesterday don't rush me, it's worth not rushing me to end death, because death is almost over. Reminder is still welcome to urge you tilde. Chapter 575_Return of the Night Wind. Aizen is really arrogant. He vividly showed the style of the king-level mouth cannon player. But his last statement was unbearable. Yamamoto Motoyanagi's eyes were like knives, staring at Aizen, as if he wanted to swallow him alive. Tisk tisk. Yamamoto Yuanliu Zeizanguo, eyes can't kill people, only a sword can. Aizen said that, and walked to the side of Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni. He pulled out the mirror flower from his waist. The blade was aimed at the key point of Yamamoto Motoyanagi. You are different from them. You represent the history of the entire Saraiti. So, I will use my knife to give you the last ride. In this way, you should also feel no regrets about dying. Aizen's voice fell. The mirror flower in his hand fell down. But seeing that Aizen's Zanpakudo is about to kill Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni, the old man suddenly raised his head. He seemed to use all his strength to grab Aizen's blade. At the same time, his other hand tightly gripped Aizen's ankle. Aizen, don't be so naive. Didn't I already tell you, I am the strongest god of death in the Soul Society? The voice fell. A wave of violent ghosts and spiritual pressure erupted in vain from the scarred body of Yamamoto Motoyanagi. Subsequently, the blazing flames rose up and turned into a huge blade shape. 96 of the Broken Way. One knife cremation. Boom. The terrifying blade-shaped flames shot up into the sky, like a celestial blade that could split the heaven and the earth, instantly engulfing Aizen's figure. To be frank, this change was something Aizen did not expect. He had no idea that the old man Yamamoto would be able to abandon the chant of ghosts and use one of his arms as a price to unleash the path-breaking attack of number 96 under such circumstances. But, surprise to surprise, Aizen's ability does not depend solely on a mirror image. His slashing fists and ghosts have reached ultimate. Reiatsu even surpassed Yamamoto Motoyugai Shigekuni in his current state. So, he forcibly resisted part of the power of one knife cremation, and at the same time launched Shunpo to escape from the center of the flame. Tisk tisk. As expected of Captain Yamamoto. You actually managed to smoke my eyes with fireworks. Aizen smiled calmly. In his opinion, this is definitely the last move of Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni. Next, this boring battle can probably draw a happy ending. Then, Aizen picked up a nail from the ruins, sandwiched it between her fingers, and aimed it at Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni's forehead. Feel the pain to your heart's content. Captain Yamamoto. Whoosh. A deadly nail with Aizen Reiatsu volleyed into the air. Everyone present fell into despair. However, this moment, Suddenly a pitch-black gap opened in the sky. Yifeng arrived at the battlefield in an instant. Clang! A pencil attached with Yifeng's spiritual power shot out into the air, hitting an iron nail that was less than half an inch away from Yamamoto Motoyanagi, and knocking the fatal nail into the air. Tisk tisk. If I hadn't seen your nails, I would have almost forgotten. I'm still a master of hidden weapons. Yifeng took the girls across the void. Appeared beside Yamamoto Motoyanagi Shuiguni. Ranju, Broken Bee, Lisa, do as I tell you to. On the way. Yifeng had already predicted what might happen in this world. So, in order to prevent the girls from being caught in the mirror and unable to control themselves, Yifeng had already laid out a battle plan in advance in Broken Realm. The plan is simple. If the entire Gote 13 team is severely damaged. So, under these circumstances, the most important thing is to save the nanny first. Good. Matsumoto Ranju nodded. She was about to check Yamamoto Motoyanagi's injury, and then went to Uno no Hana. But right now, Matsumoto Ranju suddenly saw that Aizen had appeared in front of her. The blade quickly enlarged in her pupils. She felt a little pain in her eyelids as the sharp blade slashed. But, although Matsumoto Ranju had a nervous expression, he did not respond, and just let the knife light pass by. Although she could clearly feel the blade piercing her chest. But, she is not hurt. Because this is just a fantasy created by the mirror. Oh. How many of you can actually see through my mirror? Lan Ran stood not far from Yifeng, her brows slightly wrinkled, and a puzzled look appeared on her face. Just now. At the same time, he activated the hypnotic effect of Kyoka Suzuki on Matsumoto Renki, Yatamaru Lisa, and Broken Bee. In fantasy, Aizen has carefully designed the angles and directions to attack them. Under this ingenious design, the three of them will attack Yifeng at the same time in the process of resisting. Aizen just wanted to see Yifeng fall in love with his girls and kill him first. I want to see Yifeng's anxious look. But, people don't have shit at all. You say it's irritating. Aizen, don't think about peaches. I told them before I came here that no matter what they see, they don't need to react excessively, because I will never let them suffer any harm. Yifeng smiled faintly. Obviously. The girls trust Yifeng very much. Therefore, even if the blade of the enemy entered the body, they did not pay any attention. Hehe, it's really a good idea. Lan Ran lifted Jinghua Shuiyu, looked at Yifeng who was calm and asked curiously, I didn't expect you to be able to leave Zai Palace so soon. Your strength is real. Grow again. Aizen carefully calculated the effect of the barrier created with Kiba Mi. There is Sar Apollo in control outside the enchantment. Shouldn't be a problem to be trapped in the night wind for 12 hours. Unless he misjudged Yifeng's strength again. Well, you guessed it right, my power is indeed getting stronger again. And I'm dead, so are you ready for your last words? No. You poor bastard don't have a friend, and you will die if you die. It seems that you don't need last words at all. Yifeng smiled contemptuously. Although Aizen has almost stood at the top of the world of death. But, he is so lonely. He has been alone since the beginning. Even if Ichimaru Silver and Toxian were to follow him all the time, Hinamori Dao would call out, Good morning, Captain Aizen, and, Good night, Captain Aizen, every day. But, he never had real friends. Hehe. Are you feeling sorry for me? Then let me ask you, will you choose to become friends with the ants? Chapter 576_surprise, surprise, Yifeng-kun. Azumo smiled faintly. In his mind, everyone is like ants. To be honest, it's not that he can't make friends with someone, but that no one in this world is qualified to be his friend. Okay. Whether you're right or not. I'm not a person who likes to talk shit. So, bring your sword on. Yifeng knew that he could only call Aizen the strongest in terms of pretending. So, he didn't plan to work hard with Aizen. He was going to start dry with Aizen directly. After all, he was very successful this time, and the power he gained was very powerful. He planned to kill Aizen as soon as possible, and then bring the girls back to the soul world and do other things. At this time, Aizen Soyusuke looked at Yifeng, who was staring at the 10 directions. There was confusion in his eyes. He has obviously put away the effect of looking in the mirror. The tragic situation of the Gote 13th team was placed in front of Yifeng. But even Yamamoto Genryu Saijokuni, who is known as the strongest god of death in the Soul Society, has fallen to the ground. But his blue dye is still calm. So, against this premise, how could Yifeng still have such self-confidence? Why is that? Could it be that he absorbed another collapsing jade? Actually, Yifeng had never thought of Benyu, and he didn't need Benyu at all. So, the collapsing jade is now in the Lingwang Palace. And Yifeng's strength is obtained by his own efforts, signing in hard, and getting it. There is no need for a foreign object like collapsing jade. Not long ago, Yifeng was trapped in the enchantment of the Void Night Palace, but at that time his sign-in task had already been triggered. So, wait until the check-in time is over. Yifeng successfully completed the sign-in. The sign-in reward obtained is the ultimate level Lingtai seal. This special space opened up on Yifeng Lingtai is like a dantian. When Lingtaiyan was upgraded to the ultimate level, the spiritual power that had been liquefied in Yifeng Lingtai transformed into a solid state. A golden elixir was formed in the spiritual platform. Yifeng finally regained his former posture as a golden core powerhouse. So, a barrier made of Kiba secretly trapped him. Yifeng's spiritual pressure broke through the barrier, destroyed Sar Apollo, found Nimayuri, let Nimayuri open the Black Tone, and sent them to Kakuza town. Saved the last desperation. Night Wind, Kun. Why are you so eager to face me with the sword? Why don't we sit down and drink some yuhi tea, and then you can tell me slowly, where did your confidence come from? After all, if I go all out now, your secrets may never have the chance to be revealed again. By now, although Aizen said that he could not see the depth of the night wind at all, but he knows his lengths very well. Aizen has merged with Benyu. Although he has not awakened yet, whether he is awakened or not is in his mind. So, Aizen Soyusuke can also become stronger in battle. But, just when Aizen said the words just now with forceful expression, Yifeng has already fired his knife neatly. Cut out. Simple and straightforward. There are no complicated special effects and no bursting effects. Yifeng didn't even have the abilities of thunder and frost attached this time. Just a simple knife. But it was such a seemingly unremarkable knife, but it brought Aizen Soyusuke an uncontrollable sense of fear. As if he can't handle this knife well, so he is very likely to die. Benyu can't save him. Clang. Aizen waved Jinghua Shuiyu in her hand and collided with Yifeng's goosh. The two did not collide with Reiatsu. The two knives collided with their most primitive abilities. Bright sparks rubbed out in the air. There's progress, Captain Aizen, you actually blocked my knife. Yifeng held the black knife, the strange light reflected in his pupils. He smiled lightly. Okay, it's actually just to amuse you. Yes, you don't really think you're blocking it, do you? Yifeng's voice fell. Puff. Several bloodstains appeared on Aizen's chest in an instant. Hot blood soaked the blue-dyed coat. Although Aizen blocked Yifeng's blade, the blade wind generated by that knife broke Aizen's body, protecting spiritual pressure and hurt his body. Whoosh. Blue dye blinked in an instant. Embarrassed, he opened the distance with Yifeng. This is the third time Aizen has taken the initiative to avoid Yifeng's edge. This made him feel very bad. Captain Aizen. Why are you showing such a look? When you chose to shoot at me over and over again, didn't you think that one day you would be cut by me? You haven't been mentally prepared, have you? Why don't I give you a little more time? 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's time. I'm going to cut you again. The voice fell. Yifeng drew his knife and rushed up again, swaying with Aizen. A few rounds down. Aizen was already covered in blood, completely gone from the state just now. But he still let out a weird laugh. Very good. Really good. This kind of life with a little challenge is interesting. I just hope you don't let me down next. Aizen's voice fell. An inexplicable smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, as if the kryptonite had succeeded. The wound on his body healed instantly, and a purple bead in the center of his chest was looming, exuding an indescribable halo. And after being enveloped by this halo, Aizen's spiritual pressure, which had already begun to decline, suddenly recovered, and continued to climb. The terrifying spiritual pressure even rose into the sky and went straight into the sky. I originally wanted to wait until I got another Bengyu before awakening it, but since you have appeared in front of me in advance, this moment can only be advanced, although such an awakening may give my power brings some flaws, but after killing you, I have a long time to fix them. Finally, Indigo's morphology began to undergo some very noticeable changes. An eerie white mask appeared on his face. The atmosphere is completely different from before. Hee. Night Wind, Kun. In fact, I have already reached the ceiling of the power of death, but now, I have broken through that limit and become an existence beyond death, with power that you can't imagine at all. Surprise. Surprise. You must have never imagined that I could become stronger in battle, right? Aizen's injuries have all recovered. He once again changed back to the light-hearted, high-profile man. To this, Yifeng responded to Aizen with just a knife. Chapter 577_Aizen transforms. Boom. The terrifying sword force swept out and collided with Aizen's spiritual pressure. Countless sword lights broke through the high-density spiritual pressure defense and cut mercilessly on Aizen's body. Just for a moment, Aizen turned into a blood gourd again. But, under the recovery ability of Bengyu, Aizen quickly returned to its original state. Why? Why is it that I, who awakened the power of Bengyu, still can't stop your mere blow? Aizen's eyes were full of confusion. Captain Aizen. When on earth did you think you were the ceiling of death? Even I think that I still have a lot of room for improvement, but you are still self-sufficient, and you have studied the power of the crooked and evil ways of Bengyu. Don't you think that's too funny? Yifeng's voice fell. Aizen Sosuke's expression under the white mask instantly froze. Self-sufficient. Crooked way. Just in that moment, Aizen's mood shook slightly. Yes. Where is the limit in the world? The power of death is supposed to be endless. Could it be that he couldn't break through his own death power before, just because his talent had reached the limit? Own limit. Instead of the limit of death. Thought here. Aizen was in a trance for a while. From geometrical time. He thought that he was the best genius in the Soul Society, but he never expected that Yifeng's talent was far beyond his. Why is that? Just when Aizen's mood was turbulent. Suddenly, a dazzling sword light shone through Aizen's back. This is Ichimaru Silver's Bankai, God Shot. This blow contained the full power of Ichimaru Silver, not only injecting the toxins that can decompose cells into Aizen's body, but also directly blasting half of Aizen's chest. Phew. Captain Aizen, I know you've always been looking forward to how I would kill you, so are you satisfied with this answer now? Ichimaru Silver, holding the magic spear in his hand, appeared behind Aizen with a smile. He had waited too long for this blow. If it wasn't for Yifeng telling him the truth, if it wasn't for Yifeng's turmoil in Aizen's mood. So, Ichimaru Silver felt that he might not be able to kill Aizen in his life. Silver, you already knew my plan. Aizen spat out a mouthful of blood, and the feeling of the cells in his body being decomposed obviously made him feel very uncomfortable, under the circumstances of knowing the truth. You can still disguise so that I can't see it. I underestimate you, Silver. Well, Captain Aizen, you don't have to be so arrogant. In fact, You have already been very successful, right, Yakuza-kun? Ichimaru Silver shrugged with a smirk, then looked at Yefeng and asked, Yefeng-kun, you shouldn't blame me for taking your head in this way. After all, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. In the eyes of Ichimaru Silver, Aizen Soyusuke has ended. After all, the Benyu on his chest was stabbed out by the magic spear and fell into the hands of Ichimaru Silver. At this time, Aizen had lost all support. But Yifeng smiled indifferently and said, Silver, calm down, don't float, your Captain Aizen will not be killed so easily. Although Ichimaru Silver's god shot, timing master is very clever. It also caused a very serious injury to Aizen. But if you want to defeat Benyu Aizen, you must first get Benyu. That's not simply letting Benyu leave Aizen's body. Because rather than saying that Aizen chose Benyu, it is better to say that Benyu chose Aizen. Collapsing jade can return to Aizen on its own. Hee. Silver, I didn't expect you to know me better than Yifeng-kun after being with me for over 100 years. Aizen's voice suddenly sounded. Subsequently, in vein on Aizen's chest, and the purple light Jinchuriki column completely enveloped Aizen. An amazing heat wave swept out. The spirits floating in the surrounding air seemed to be boiled by this heat wave. How is this possible? Benyu is clearly in my hands. Why is Benyu's power still in your body? Ichimaru Silver's face revealed a look of fear. He quickly opened his palm. But Ichimaru Silver, there was only a fragile shell left. Silver. Benyu's power is a power you can't understand. Even if you take him away, his will still surrender to me, and he has become one with me. Aizen's voice was indifferent. The wound on his chest had indeed begun to heal quickly. Almost instantly, the purple collapsing jade emerged from his chest again. This time, Benyu's light seems to be brighter. An incomparably mysterious power appeared around Aizen, forming a white jumpsuit that wrapped Aizen's whole body. Needless to say, this must be a brand new defense that Benyu gave Aizen. Banu. Do you really think I need such a full range of defense? Let me get some fresh air. The voice fell. The white mask on Aizen's face instantly shattered. At this time, Aizen not only changed her hairstyle, but also her appearance. A pair of strange pupils exudes a lavender light. Full of confidence. Yefeng, what should I do? His Reiatsu seems to have transformed. It's not at the level it was before. Ichimaru Silver's face. Although Aizen stood there motionless, he was oppressed by the aura emanating from Aizen, making it difficult to even breathe. It's alright, Silver, leave it to me. I've roughly understood the so-called evolution theory of Benyu, and now I can end this battle. Yifeng smiled lightly. Wave. A gentle Reiatsu enveloped Ichimaru Silver and all the other Shinigami present. Moment. Everyone felt that the pressure on their bodies was much less. It's actually able to counteract the spiritual pressure I put on them. It seems that you didn't use all your strength just now. The corner of Lan Ran's mouth was slightly raised, and a smile appeared on his face. He stepped forward in Yifeng's direction, and instantly appeared in front of Yifeng. Swish. A knife full of oppression slashed towards Yifeng. Such a knife made everyone around him look horrified. They couldn't see Aizen's movements at all, and could only sense Aizen's whereabouts by relying on the pressure after moving. Aizen's strength made them feel unbelievable. Even Yamamoto Moto Ryusai Shigekuni couldn't believe it. Although his Zanpakuto, Bankai, has a powerful lethality. But if Zanpakuto's, Bankai, ability is aside, he asks himself that he can't reach Aizen's current level. Is this the power of Collapse Jade? Can Yifeng really defeat such Aizen? Chapter 578 Aizen ended. At this moment when everyone's mind is full of doubts, Yifeng showed everyone his attitude with his actual behavior. Just when Aizen's blade was about to fall on Yifeng, he stretched out 2 fingers. An understatement caught the mirror. Boom. The terrifying spiritual pressure collided, and Aizen's Jinghua Shuiyu suddenly let out a scream, and then, countless cobweb-like cracks appeared on the surface of Aizen's blade. Snapped. A crisp sound made everyone's eyes widen. Aizen also looked at Jinghua Shuiyu, whose hands were broken into more than 10 pieces, with a bewildered expression. The expression on his face instantly stiffened. He clearly has mastered Bengyu. Obviously has successfully completed an evolution. Why was he still defeated by Yi Feng so easily? This unscientific. It's impossible. I have clearly become an existence that transcends dimensions, and I have clearly surpassed the god of death. Why can't I defeat you? Aizen's pupils were filled with long-lost confusion and incomprehension. Although he only fused one Bengyu, as long as Bengyu awakens, his power must be the strongest in the world. Aizen Sosuke. It's not that hard to understand, you're just not as strong as you think. In a situation like yours, in my hometown, it can only be called the realm of fake pills at best. Yi Feng shook his head and whispered in Lan Ran's ear. Subsequently, he raised his hand and smashed Aizen's chest with a fist, and together with the collapsing jade, it was smashed into powder. But such a blue dye is not dead yet. In the center of his chest there was still a purple light gathering. Hee. Yefeng-kun, although I don't quite understand what your last sentence means, it seems that you still haven't figured out the current situation, but I really want to thank you. Because you've done things that even I can't do. Only by smashing Bengyu can he bring me the ultimate transformation. Me now. It has completely surpassed the dimension of this world. It's about to become a creature you can't look up to. Immediately after, collapsing jade was condensed again in Aizen's body. And Aizen's appearance has also changed again, becoming more and more like a mixed society. Such blue dye. There is endless coercion between every gesture. All the members of the surrounding Gote 13 squad fell unconscious under this pressure. Night Wind, Kun. I am very pleased that you can be the last god of death standing in front of me, but then, this battle without suspense should end. Have to say, Aizen's words are very reasonable. Yi Feng also felt that the battle could be over. Then, the voice fell. Aizen suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest again. Yi Feng suddenly appeared in front of him like a ghost, stretched out his hand and took Bengyu from his body. Humph. Didn't I tell you? Taking the Bengyu from my body is of no use at all. Lan Ran snorted coldly, looked at Yi Feng with disdain, and prepared to recall Bengyu. But, next moment, Aizen's face suddenly changed. Cold sweat began to flow down his forehead. Because Aizen finds out that he has lost contact with Bengyu. Collapsing jade seems to have disappeared. He could not perceive any trace of Bengyu's existence at all. This is not reasonable. This is very unreasonable. Aizen was completely unable to comprehend what was happening. Tisk tisk tisk, I thought it was just a fake pill, but it seems to be a bit more complicated than I thought, but no matter what the situation of Bengyu is, it's no longer a rain girl. Yi Feng shook his head. Instead of destroying Bengyu this time, he put Bengyu directly into his system space. There is a system that melon skin is there. Those who do not collapse will definitely not dare to jump again. So, of course, Aizen had no way to perceive the existence of this collapsing jade. Yefeng-kun, can you tell me how you did it? How did you destroy the Bengyu? Lan Ran looked at Yefeng with a pale face. The white clothes on her body fell into pieces. He knew he was dying soon, but he didn't want to end with regrets. Bengyu is still there, but I locked him in an indescribable place. He can't get out, so you can't feel him. Yi Feng explained briefly. It turns out that, after listening to Yi Feng's explanation, a miserable smile appeared on the corner of Aizen's mouth. He suddenly felt extremely mentally exhausted, and his eyelids seemed to be unable to open. Dominance, dreams, and memories all dissipated from Aizen's mind like a tide. At the last minute, Aizen suddenly seemed to think of something. He looked at Yi Feng weakly and asked weakly, Yi Feng-kun, are you really from this world? Aizen remembered all his doubts about Yifeng. But he felt that he might have fallen into some kind of misunderstanding. Yifeng's power must be the god of death, Shu, and Quincy. Aizen suddenly felt that Yifeng's power might be a completely different existence from this world. As expected of you, you actually saw this, but there's no chance. Goodbye, Aizen. Yifeng looked at Aizen meaningfully. If Aizen is not the villain, so maybe he can really break the void and enter the heavens and the world one day. ... Ding. Please, the host, collect 2 collapse jades and sign in front of the Spirit King. Blue die falls. Before Yifeng had time to express his emotions and make a conclusion, the system immediately released the next goal of struggle. Are you going to meet that guy from the Spirit King? It seems that the sign-in task for this plane is almost done. Yifeng shook his head. Next. Yifeng rescued her sisters, and then brought the sisters to rescue the other captains one by one. Waking up, Yamamoto Motonyanagi looked at Aizen's corpse lying on the ground. Still feel a little unbelievable. But the truth seemed to be right before their eyes. Finally. After half an hour. The old man sighed. Yifeng-kun, you saved the world, you are the hero of the soul world. Yamamoto Motonyanagi looked at Yifeng with complicated eyes. To be frank, the old man Yamamoto also doubted Yifeng's identity. After all, although Yifeng doesn't seem to have any problems with his background, his rise is too fast, and his strength is beyond everyone's imagination. But this time, if there is no Yifeng shot, Gote 13 is over. The corpse world is over. So, this moment, Yamamoto Motoyanagi Yakuni completely let go of his doubts about Yifeng. No matter what secrets he has, old man Yamamoto is willing to believe Yifeng. He believed that Yifeng must be on the side of justice. Chapter 579_Weird Knowledge. Next. Everyone rested in place for a while. After they confirmed that Aizen really wouldn't cheat corpses, everyone finally felt relieved. Really won. Yifeng-kun is a miracle. Yeah, if Yifeng-kun didn't come back in time, it might be another story. Aizen is dead, our world is finally safe, and there should be no more enemies like Aizen in the future. Of course not, and, with Yifeng-kun here, there's nothing to worry about. The joy of victory gradually washed away the haze that the Gote 13 had been dominated by Aizen in the war just now. Although they all suffered to varying degrees. But it's all over now. Ichimaru Silver also let go of the shackles on his body. Although he knew that he could not equalize his merits and demerits, he would still face the judgment of the Soul Society. But he can finally be himself. He feels very relaxed now. Only the top of his head is a little uncomfortable. Then, Ichimaru Silver walked in front of Matsumoto Ranju, looked at Ranju tenderly, and said, Ranju, I'm sorry, I've been lying to you all the time, causing you to worry about me. Ichimaru Silver decided to follow Aizen. He deliberately began to maintain an estranged relationship with Matsumoto Ranju. Matsumoto Ranju also always thought that Ichimaru Silver had changed. But at this moment, Ichimaru Silver was standing beside Ranju. He wanted to explain to Ranju that he was still the same boy who had not changed in the slightest. Matsumoto Ranju smiled lightly, looked at Ichimaru Silver and said, I knew that you must be a good guy. After speaking, Matsumoto Ranju hugged Yifeng's arm with a coquettish look on his face, and said, Fengfeng, did you already know about Silver? Why didn't you tell others? I will punish you when you go back. See this scene. Ichimaru Silver was messed up in the wind. Yes. Taichimaru Silver has not changed. But the chaotic chrysanthemum is obviously not the chaotic chrysanthemum it used to be. She has become Yifeng-kun's woman. Night Wind-kun. Hey. Ichimaru Silver secretly sighed. He did not hesitate to lurk beside Aizen. His original intention was to regain what Luanju lost, but he did not expect that he eventually lost the entire Luanju. Next. Naturally, Yi Feng did not need to be involved in the post-war matters. After all, he has already contributed the most important force in this event. The captains who were rescued began to take their respective subordinates to carry out the post-war treatment work. 2 of the top 3 of the 10 blades have died. With only the 3-blade Halibal left, the old man Yamamoto didn't kill her on the spot, but let her put on a jersey first, ready to bring it back to the Soul Realm for Yi Feng to capture. So far, the Aizen incident has come to an end. Time flies. In a blink of an eye. A month has passed. This day, Yi Feng sat bored at the desk with a sad look on his face. How do I get to the Lingwang Palace? Yi Feng's next task is to go to the Lingwang Palace to sign in. But it is easy to say that it is easy to go to the Lingwang Palace, but it is really difficult to say that it is difficult. Didn't Aizen die in this world just for this? I can't really break out a wave of spiritual pressure and knock down the Lingwang Palace from the sky, right? Yi Feng shook his head. Although Yi Feng could forcibly break into the Spirit King Palace, he was still hesitating because most of the Gating 13 team had a good relationship with Yi Feng. He didn't particularly want to break with the Soul Society. Especially this time. The 9th squad is full of people, and many people came to express their gratitude to Yi Feng, all of whom had been drinking with Yi Feng. In general, Yi Feng is not particularly willing to cause trouble to drinking friends. Just when Yi Feng hesitated, the office door was pushed open. The current vice captain of the 9th Division, Riza Yatomaru, walked in from the outside with a pile of documents. Captain Yefeng, all the prisoners who should be interrogated have been interrogated, and now there is only one Hao Libel left that has not been dealt with. How are you going to arrange her? Lisa Yamanmaru pushed her glasses, and a smear of pink light drained from the lenses. In a flash, do you want me to accompany you to interrogate yourself tonight? Heard. Yi Feng couldn't help frowning, waved his hand and said, don't look at me with these tinted glasses, I'm not the kind of person you imagine, right? Yaminomaru Liza shrugged. Do not. You are. Halibal is a rare tile-level broken face in the virtual circle, and her personality is relatively normal. The old man may have other arrangements for her, so she can continue to lock it up. Yi Feng touched his chin and added. A sentence. Through Nirvana's efforts in the virtual circle, Soul World has successfully opened a directional black cavity that can stabilize the virtual circle back and forth. So, the virtual circle is no longer a place of disorder. They need to be governed by the god of death. But Captain Death can't stay in the virtual circle for a long time, so the Soul World still needs a virtual king to manage the virtual circle. Hao Li Bell is undoubtedly the best choice. Of course. Before releasing Hao Libel back to the virtual circle and inheriting the throne, Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni will definitely do something to her body. This ensures that they can use Hao Li Bell to manage the virtual circle. Then, or else, I'll make an appointment with Xiaonaneo at night. Her style should also be what you like, right? Yatomaru Lisa put the document on the table, lying in front of Yefeng. With a look on her face, Mei smiled and looked at the night wind. To this, Yi Feng was speechless. Once upon a time, Yi Feng thought that only men were lustful, but after going through thousands of girls, Yi Feng felt that the girls seemed to be more lustful than him. Then, just when Yi Feng was about to tidy up the desk together with Liza Yatomaru, the messenger of the first team came suddenly. Captain Yefeng, Captain, please come over. The herald said. Did something happen? This is to hold a captain's meeting. Yi Feng asked with a brow. Not really. The commander-in-chief asked you to come to his study, not to hold a meeting, but I don't know exactly what to do. The messenger replied truthfully. Oh, the study room. Yi Feng touched his chin and said, okay, I'll go over right away. After dismissing the herald, there was a thoughtful look on Yi Feng's face. What did the old man suddenly call him to go to the study? But just when Yi Feng hesitated, Lisa Yamanmaru was already sitting in Yi Feng's arms. A pair of jade hands blocked Yi Feng's neck, and her face was full of a charming smile. Captain Nightwind. Anyway, your shunko is very fast, so why don't you use the time you saved to do something else? Then, they exchanged some strange knowledge points. Chapter 580_Royal Family Squad. Afterwards, Yi Feng came to the first team. Under the leadership of Jiro, the head of the Sparrow, Yefeng entered the study of Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni. As soon as you enter. The old man smiled immediately. Captain Yefeng, looking at your spring breeze, you have been having a good time recently. It's all right, Yifeng smiled, then glanced at Yamamoto's empty left arm, and shook his head. You really don't think about restoring your arm. Just like in the original story. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni did not accept Inoue Orihime's help to restore his arm, because he thought that as the captain of Gotei 13, he would never accept human help. To be frank, this kind of stubborn Nightwind is not very understandable. Is it bad to live fully alive? Why be handicapped? Although this old man has lost an arm, I am still the strongest in the corpse soul world. Saying this, Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni smiled lightly. I'm still the second strongest god of death, enough to protect the corpse soul. Out of bounds. Quote. Benkai, is very unreasonable. But, he has already admitted that Yi Feng's power is above him. And after his observation during this period of time, there really isn't much of a problem with the Nightwind. He is not like Aizen. Aizen is so perfect in disguise that she has never revealed her true self. The Nightwind is different. He is the kind of person who is very real at first glance, and although the issue of his style is open to question, it is all a matter of your own will, and outsiders have nothing to say. Thought here. The old man Yamamoto glanced at Jiro, the head of the Sparrow, and instructed, Chong Jiro, you go out first, I have something to discuss with Captain Yefeng. Okay. Jiro, the head of the Sparrow, respectfully walked out of Captain Yamamoto's study, and by the way helped him make up a barrier outside. Very competent. Isn't it? What's the need to be so serious? Yifeng looked at the old man Yamamoto thoughtfully. Generally speaking, Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni would not go to defend Nagajiro. No matter what kind of meeting. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni will take part in the event with Jiro, the Minister of Sparrow. But today it's clearly a little weird this time around. Captain Nightwind. The old man came to you today because there is a big matter that needs to be asked for your opinion. I hope that after listening, you can think about it carefully and make an answer. Yamamoto Motoyanagi's eyes suddenly darkened. It looks like it's going to do something. But it doesn't matter. Yifeng nodded calmly. Captain Yefeng, you haven't been in the Gotei 13 for a long time. I wonder if you've heard of Team Zero. Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju looked at Yefeng with a dazzling gaze, as if hoping to learn from Yefeng's face. Seen a little surprised. But, obviously, he was thinking about peaches. Have you heard of Team Zero? Yamamoto Yuanliu Zaijin raised his brows, and Yifeng once again surprised him. I know about Team Zero. Don't forget that I have been to the Great Spirit Book Corridor, where I have seen a lot of content, including Team Zero, Spirit King, and Yuhabak. Yifeng thought about it. He felt that these things had nothing to hide from Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni. Anyway, the question is what I saw in the corridor of the Great Spirit Book. If anyone doesn't believe it, anyone can go to the Great Spirit Book corridor to verify by themselves. Hear Yi Feng's explanation. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni fell into deep contemplation. Captain Yefeng, since you have seen these things at the time, why didn't you tell this old man? Yamamoto Yuanliu Saiju was staring at Yefeng, and a gleam of light flashed in his old eyes. But he wasn't blaming Yifeng for not reporting truthfully, but Yifeng mentioned the name that had worried him for thousands of years, Yuhabak. It's not a good thing to know too many things. At the time, I felt that if I told too many secrets, there might be unnecessary trouble. Yifeng explained calmly. Well, that makes sense. After all, our primary task at the time was Aizen Soyusuk. Yamamoto Motoyanagi said, looking at Yifeng and asking, so, Captain Yifeng, what are you doing to you just now? How much do you know about these things? Yhwach is the founder of the Quincy. He was defeated by the Soul Society thousands of years ago. Apart from that, I haven't seen much else. The Spirit King is the god who maintains the stability of this world, and Team Zero is the team specially responsible for guarding the Spirit King. I don't know anything else. Nightwind shrugged. Although Yifeng knew a lot of things, it was enough to say that, after all, these things themselves were highly confidential. Well, you're right, Team Zero is also called the exclusive team of the royal family. They are not under the control of the 46th room of the Central Committee and the Old Man. They are directly ordered by the Spirit King, which is a special class one level higher than us. Squad. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni looked at Yifeng meaningfully and said. Also, Team Zero has only 5 members so far, but the 5 of them together can surpass the entire Gotei 13 team. Although Yamamoto's description is somewhat exaggerated. But the 5 members of Team Zero are indeed super captain level existences. In particular, the 2 members of the army chief, Ibe and Ermewu Wangyu, were even far older than Yamamoto Motoryu Saijokuni, and their strength was terrifying. Beyond the entire Gotei 13. Yifeng smiled indifferently and shook his head. The 5 members of Team Zero are. Who named everything in the Soul Society? Created all the shallow strikes of the God of Swords, Ermeya Wangyu. Orisho Shutara Senjumaru, who created the Deathlord outfit to provide defense against the Shinigami. Izumi Yuki Kirinji Tenshiro, who created the path dedicated to medical treatment. Kiryu Hibun, who has created the concept of righteous soul. These 5 people don't look at the set of cattle, but the real performance in the later stage is very weak. In the Night Wind. The 5 of them are just arrogant people who are standing still but don't know it. No wonder he was hanged by Yhwach. Captain, what did you mean when you suddenly told me about Team Zero? Yifeng asked. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni is not a person who is aimless. Since he specifically called Yifeng to the study, he also explained the situation of Team Zero to him. That explains. Team Zero may have noticed Yifeng. Don't say anything else. Zanpakuto, in his hand, named Goosh, must not be able to hide the eyes and ears of Team Zero. After all the shallow fights and the names of the shallow fights were created by Team Zero. So, they must know that Ghost is not the Zanpakuto they created.